everybody, welcome to Directly to You. This is the 95th episode of Directly to You. What's Directly to You? It's our podcast here. We're fanatixfour. I'm AJ at fanatixfour. I'm joined by Parker at fanatixfour. Hi, Parker.
Hello, AJ. How's it going?
I was going to say Parker says hi, but he didn't. He said hello.
I did say hello. I'm super formal. It's 2020. It's time to get formal.
It's also time for housekeeping. You can support this channel, which is way more important now because January sucks for YouTubers. If you didn't know, dude, if you want to support our content and stuff that we do here, and you want to help us do great stuff in the new year, man, you can go to youtube.com/fanatixfour/ what? Click the join button or twitch.tv/fanatixfour and click the subscribe button. For $4.99, you get loyalty badges, you get exclusive emotes, you get gaming time with us, you get free Switch keys from time to time, you get access to a supporters-only Discord, which you can also join if you don't have $4.99 to talk about stuff with our community. It's a great fun time. People join every time I bring it up in videos. It's interesting.
It is.
Imagine that, dude. Is there anything else?
You didn't tell people to like smile and enjoy life.
Smile and enjoy life.
There you go. Oh, look at that.
Yep. And also like follow us on Twitter. I don't mention Twitter, man.
Oh, that's true. Since we did the giveaway back whenever that was that we did the giveaway, my subscriber count has been slowly declining as people have been like, oh yeah, I forgot to subscribe to this guy. And I'm like, see you guys, have a good time. Enjoy life. But I mean, it's fine, obviously, if they don't want to follow.
It was still a net gain. It was still a net gain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
you
for
had
sure.
Like it was 150 or something like that.
Something like that. Now it's like 600.
Yeah, I think you'll settle out around like 600 to like in the 550 to 600 range, which is
I'm not.
And that'll grow once freaking Justin makes the thing. Because that's been a whole saga, dude.
I could always, I just keep forgetting to put those in my video because I could just like write it in there, just put like @Parker Deal on Twitter, but it's not all fancy. It's not the same. No,
it's not the same.
Looks lame and stupid. Nobody likes it.
Exactly. That's why they're like, I'm not gonna follow this guy. He doesn't even have a graphic, dude.
That's true. Hey, Happy New Year, everybody! You did it. You made it through the wilderness. Yes, you made it through. I don't know how the rest of that song goes. It's a song. Sure. I think it's Madonna.
You're not allowed to talk songs because something about
rights.
Yeah. Yep.
The rights to copy things.
Yes.
Got it.
We don't have them.
We don't. Speaking of rights, you have the right to tell me about games that you've been playing.
I've been playing the same games that I usually play, which is the Pokemans, and I'm playing the Smash Brothers.
The Smashing Brothers.
I freaking caught more shinies.
You sure did. I saw like 15 million shiny Magikarp.
Yeah, man. I got so many shiny Magikarp. And
was it every Magikarp in a raid or just like, because I know there was some event. Okay. But there was just a higher chance that raid ones.
It's a higher chance. It's like 8% or something like that.
It's not bad.
So I was in Dan's stream, and before this, I couldn't care less about this freaking shiny Magikarp, which I'm going to get to that. I should have cared because one of the shiny Magikarp that I got is real good. It's real good. Nice. But I was watching Dan on twitch.tv/thatcyber channel. One of those. She's weird. Twitch is a channel, so that cyber channel.
That cyber, and then search button, and then it'll fill in the rest.
But yeah, so he was doing raids and stuff, so I was like, I'll do some raids, and I found the first one that I found was a shiny. I was like, hey, I found this Magikarp. It's 5-star. I don't know if it's shiny or not, but it'll probably be shiny, so you might want to join it. And Dan just completely ignored me, and it was shiny, and me and Mega Man caught it, so it's like, you're stupid and you suck and you should listen to me more. And it took him a real long time to find another one, but he found one. It was a 3-star, and I was like, that one's garbage.
True.
But then one of them that we found was a 5-star, and it has its hidden ability, which is rattled, but that doesn't matter because when it evolves into Gyarados, it freaking gets Moxie Dude, which means he's broken.
What's Moxie do?
Every time you feint a Pokemon, it gives you an attack boost of like 1.5 or something like that. Something along
That's
those lines.
Dope.
It's broken. So yeah, I got that, and I'm probably going to use Gyarados at some point.
Nice.
Another thing that was brought up during this was people were like, well, we're talking about Minecraft because people were like, when are you guys going to play Minecraft? I was like, I want to play freaking Pokemon because we still didn't do that yet. I mean, obviously, like, we've all rated like in disparate streams, like that sort of thing. But I was like, no, I want to do like a whole thing. Like, I want to do it like yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I want to do multi-battles. I want to do multi-battles with me and Bob on a team versus Dan and MDB, because I figure those are the fairest possible odds. It's probably still unfair, but it's the fairest it's going to get. So yeah.
Who do you think it's fair in? It's unfair still in which direction do you think?
I think it's still unfair in our direction.
Okay, yeah.
Most definitely. Because MDB understands Pokemon, but he doesn't understand Pokemon like I understand. I think it's unfair in that regard. But I feel like Dan understands Pokemon better than Bob does. Not significantly more. It's still like within like margin for error. But I think that it's close enough to be. It's like 80% fair.
Yeah, that sounds pretty close.
So yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to do raids and I want to do multi battles, and then I guess battles with subs. But I don't know how that's gonna work. But yeah, man, we've been playing Divinity Original Sin.
How? Well, why would you? What kind of a crazy
Did you play
person
with
are you? No, I haven't. But he got actually. My parents have been in town, and I went to see family for Christmas. No, I did not. Well, I did show my mom some of it because I was like, "Oh, look at this! This is fun." She's like, "Oh, yeah, interesting." But
say looks like some nerd stuff.
Looks like some nerd. I mean, she's a nerd too, so I come by it honest. But yeah,
when did that ever stop me?
Yeah, who's to say? You know. No, I haven't. I actually haven't seen Mitch in a while because I've been working from home.
That's messed up.
I know. I'm probably gonna hang out with him tomorrow though. But he got so I got games for Christmas. I talked about them last week, but then he also got Astral Chain and The Witcher 3 for Christmas. So I didn't get those, so I may borrow them from him sometime because why not? You know, borrowing is fun. But he said he played the first 30 minutes of Astral Chain and he was like, "This feels like the kind of game you'd play." What did he say? I have to find what he said. It was something along the lines of like at a ski resort arcade or something like that. And because it was just the motorcycle racing part. And then like he just barely got whatever those things are called.
Astral Chain has a real rough start.
Yeah, I told him
2.5 to 3 to 5 hours.
So, did you make it past the 3 to 4?
Yeah, I did, but like it was kind of like Xenoblade Chronicles X for me. Where it's like, and that startup is even longer. It's like takes you like 30 hours to get the thing on the box. And once I got to that point, I played for like another 3 hours or something like that. I was like, this wasn't worth it. And that was like the same trajectory that I had for Astral Chain. Like
except for Astral Chain is definitely shorter, right? Because it's only like 16 hours. Or something like that.
Yeah. But it was like the same feeling where it's like I did the first initial 4 hours or whatever, and was like, it wasn't worth this grind. Like this is better, but it's not that much better that it makes me like, oh yeah, I'm going to spend even more time with this game. It's like, nope, you robbed me my first 4 hours. I don't want to give you more.
I'm excited. I think I've like knowing me and Mitch, I've got more patience for that kind of stuff anyway. Like I think there's a lot of games where he just kind of goes and he's like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, and then he'll like. Whereas I'll go in with like, I'm just gonna assume that I'm gonna like it, and then at some point, if it gets to a point where I'm like, wow, I really just don't, then I stop at that. Like that's kind of where I got with Assassin's Creed 3, where it was like the point where it got to the point where it's supposed to be the good stuff. I was like, I don't really care. And then
but that's the same thing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
That didn't happen to me with Assassin's Creed, though, ironically enough. Because, like, I started and I was like, I want to be the guy on the box. And you're not.
Yep.
But then I got there and I was like, this is cool enough.
Yep. But yeah, I won't talk about it a ton because I've talked about it a ton already, but I've been playing more Divinity Original Sin. I think I'm close. I think I'm in the last chapter. There's only 4 chapters though, if so, and they're each like chapter 2 took like 20 hours or something. So, or maybe longer than that. So it's a long game, probably like 55-ish hours in, but I'm just trying to crank through it so I can feel okay to get on to some of my Christmas games.
I didn't even know it was a game like that. I thought that there was no end to that game.
I think there's pretty, like, you can kind of do it in a lot of different ways. Cause again, there's like, 4 or 5 different ways to complete each main quest bit. Some of them's like fighting your way out and talking your way out, or like sneaking your way out, and different kinds of things. But I'm just doing all of them because that's me. But yeah, that's most of what I've been playing. And that's it. There
Great.
you go. Yeah, it's fun. We also played, on New Year's Eve, my family and Ashley's family hung out, and we played Telephone Pictionary, which is a lot of fun. It's everybody's got little pieces of paper, and then you write a prompt or something, and then you pass that to the next person, and then they see that prompt, and then they put it to the back, and then they draw it, and then they pass it to the next person.
Oh, yeah.
And then that person sees the drawing and tries to guess what the prompt is. So then you just go around for a while, then it ends up being really silly stuff. Sometimes a couple of them ended up being the exact same thing as they started as, which meant the person picked a very boring prompt. But
or they're just a good artist, man.
Maybe so. But yeah, whatever. So it was a grand old time. We did that. That's non-video gaming. Oh, and I watched The Witcher. Did I talk about that last week?
No.
It was so good. Oh, and I watched Star Wars. Gracious.
You mean the Baby Yoda show?
The one
that
the movie Shuvi. Yeah, the movie Shuvi. I started saying, yeah, watch The Witcher. Fantastic. Loved it. It was great. There's that for you. Enjoy. And then watched Rise of Skywalker on Wednesday.
Rise of the Skywalker.
I don't know. And I liked it fine. I enjoyed it. I guess why. I think there's a lot of people that have very specific ideas just of what they want Star Wars to be, and have decided this is like a guy that exactly
that explains why people hate most of the Star Wars movies that they hate.
Yeah,
I think the only one that I'm like, I get the hate for that is Clone Wars. Like that's the only one. Attack of the Clones, not Clone Wars. Yeah, that's the only one that I'm like, I understand. But the rest of it's like, nah, you just wanted this to be something else, and it wasn't that.
So I mean, that's like one of the guys in my church that has been a huge Star Wars fan for forever. He and I were talking, and he was back when The Last Jedi came out, and he was especially mad that Luke was the way he was, that he was like surly and like had, wasn't like super optimistic, blah, blah, blah kind of thing. And he's like, cause Luke is the epitome of those things or whatever, which like maybe in the expanded universe, that's what he continues to be. But if there's no more expanded universe, there's no reason to say that Luke couldn't have gone from, like, I know plenty of people that were like really optimistic 20-something-year-olds, and then like now they're 50 and they're mad.
I think that's most people, for being honest. And that's real common in war, where it's like you go in and you're like, oh, now my country and all that stuff. And then you see people die. And then you're like, all right, I'm done. I've had it with everything and I hate it all. And I don't want it. I don't want to do nothing.
Even as like he's technically a teacher to, Ben Kenobi and all them and stuff. Even as teachers, I know plenty of teachers that are like, I'm going to go into public school system to like make some moves and help some kids change their lives and stuff like that. And so many of them after like 10, 15 years, they're like, it's just depressing, which like sucks. I hate that for them. And for the school system at large. But, that's just a kind of like, that's not an unheard of kind of trajectory. So it's just funny to think, that kind of stuff. But in any case, I thought Rise of Skywalker was good. There were definitely things that I was like, that's a bit silly, but overall, I enjoyed watching it. I have a pretty narrow sliver of like movies that I think are just bad, because pretty quickly it goes from like amazing, great, good, enjoyable enough, tiny bit of bad, and then so bad it's hilarious. Like I've got a fairly wide breadth of that, so there's that for you.
I don't watch that much things. But when I do, it's rare that I come out of it and I'm like, man, I hated that.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
that happened, fine, like,
Yep.
and that's how I felt about Rise of the Skywalker.
Yep.
The one.
Ashley and I had a grand time a couple of years ago watching Jupiter Ascending, which is always my go-to, like, so bad it's great movie. Like, I don't think I'd watch it again, but when we watched it, about like 40-ish minutes into it, of like a 2.5, 3-hour movie or whatever it was, we just turned to each other and we're like, this is so cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
And then proceeded to laugh at the rest of it. And it was fantastic. And it's sad because like there was a lot of stuff where I was like, I could see how some of this would make for a really interesting universe, but it didn't. So whatever. But that is what it is. Yeah, that's all I'm playing. You want to talk about the news?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's do it.
No, I changed my mind. No, I'm joking.
Let's. Oh, wow. What a new year, new you. Am I right? All right. So first up, speaking of things being garbage, Hideki Kamiya thinks that the Switch UI is just that. There's a quote from him that I won't read verbatim because it's in Japanese, but more really because it's, got cuss words, and that's this podcast is family friendly, y'all. Get with it. But yeah, Hideki Kamiya. Was there any context to this, like, before he tweeted it out? I don't think so.
I think he was just at home playing a Switch, dude, just having a good time. And then like he's like, you know what? I want to go from this game to this game, and he hadn't played that game in a long time. And then he was trying to find it, and he's like, what? I gotta like press left twice. And like, this is nonsense. And he decided to tweet about it, man.
He sure did. Let's talk about him tweeting about his emotions. He said something to the effect of, the Nintendo Switch's home menu is a piece of crap. All the freaking huge game icons are lined up in a row, but the rest of the games are tossed into a trash can called All Games. I wonder, have they, the people that made the menu, ever played the Nintendo fanboys Switch?
So there's been an update to that quote.
Yeah. Translation update.
Yeah, and even this had, like, I'm finding that the more I'm on the internet, the more I'm just like done with people, dude. So I'm not gonna go. I'll tell you all, okay, because I don't want to like go into that. But yeah, so
I've got an idea.
I don't know if you do.
Okay, never mind then.
Maybe you do, but I don't know if you do. I tweeted Bob about it though.
Okay.
So Push Dustin, he like updated this and was like, this is my read on what he said. He said, Switch's home screen has these huge effing thumbnails, which are just lined up in a row. I'm really thankful to have all the games thrown in the, quote, all software screen. These people at Nintendo have used the Switch, right? Are they going to fix it? That was the quote, as translated by Push Dustin, who's Smash guy,
True.
Tell us about a lot of stuff Sakurai says.
Yeah, what's your take on all this?
I think that this story is a story just because he's a developer, but also because like he's a fan, so it's like, it just feels like I agree with that. That's a thing that I also think, and I think it has more credibility because he makes a video game on it. Which I don't think that I don't think A equals B equals C. I don't think that because he makes video games he understands UI, and if that was like Sakurai, yeah, speaking of the devil. So it's like, I think that this Switch's UI does exactly what it said it's out to do, and I think that for that reason it's good UI and UX. I think that a lot of people want extra stuff which will add clutter, and that will also add clunkiness. And they're okay with that because it's like, hey man, at least I get to see Mario jump across when I move my cursor, like, or whatever the case may be, like folders and all those stuff, which would be fine. But like for what they're trying to do, like it's like they're scarred. They were scarred by how clunky Wii U's UI was, and how much resources that operating system took up, that they're like, no, we want the Switch to be the antithesis of that. Like from the start, when you turn on the Wii U, it's spectacle. It's like, you got all your friends here, everybody's talking, man, it's great. But on Switch, they're like, nah, everything just like be quiet. Here's some games you can play.
Very feng shui.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, pretty much similar idea of like, I think he's right, but I also think it's not as big a deal as it's being made out to be. But I think the only reason it is a big deal is because people agree with him and he's, popular as a human. So like anybody could have tweeted the same, I don't know, if PewDiePie tweeted out the same thing or whatever, it would have gotten a different kind of, but similar sort of agreement.
Like if like a freaking UX designer at Apple was like, this OS is garbage, then I'd be like, oh yeah, man. Like I would agree more. I would say like this has more credibility than anybody else saying this. But the only reason why people are like putting this on a pedestal is because they agree with it, and also he does a thing,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Rather than like him dealing in what the issue is and knowing how to do it better.
Yep. I think as far as like solutions-y stuff goes, the only of a like really quick fix that I think would be nice is, I know you think I'm going to say folders. I'm not specifically going to say folders. But I think, like you said, they want it to be snappy and all that kind of stuff. And if they left the whole UI exactly as it is, except for when you go to all software, you could just, in the same way that like in the NES online app, you can like move those games around and stuff. You just like move around the order of the games in all software and then just have that order. Because like if it has to load, like click all software and then it has to load for a second, like people I think would expect that, and that would be fine. You know what I mean? But I think, Nintendo at this point is like, we want zero loading anywhere. So
I just think that a lot of the stuff that people are asking for are like micro versions of what's already there.
Right.
Like all software is a folder.
Yeah.
That's a folder. And it's already like categorized in the way that most people would want to categorize the thing, where it's like, this is what I'm playing now. And this is what I have been playing. That's what it puts to the front, is the game that you're playing. The only time that it becomes like a huge problem where it's like, I got to scroll through all these games, is if you're playing a game and then you go to a game that you haven't played in 6 months.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So I just think it's weird to be like, man, like they didn't freaking make it easy for me to play games that I play every 9 months or whatever, dude. Like,
I don't think it's about, I don't think it's so much even about ease, because I think that's just like, most of the time you're not going to run into these issues. I think it's more about like, like
the idea that if you want to do it, you should be able to do it.
Something like that. Yeah. And like if you have a physical game collection, you can like organize that how you want and be like, I want these developers and then this developers and then this and then, whatever. Whereas you can't do that kind of thing. But it's not.
The thing that I take issue with, like I'm completely okay with people wanting folders. I think that's great. That's great.
Thank you. Definitely. That's all I've wanted you to say all year.
We should. But my problem is that people act like this is a problem.
Right.
Yes. Like this is a thing that is holding Nintendo back. It's like they're not doing this thing that would make the Switch such a way better experience, when in reality, it's like, I just want this for my own peace of mind. I'm not going to use this for anything functional, but I want it so that if I look at my Switch library, it says Zelda games, and I know my Zelda games are in there. I'm not opening it for any reason. I don't need to access just Zelda games at any point in time on my regular day-to-day life, but I want the ability to do it. So let me do it. Which, again, is a fine thing to say. But to be like, I think that Nintendo is like in the freaking prehistoric era because they don't let us put things in folders, is just like a step too far, dude. It's like, I don't think it's that deep.
And
I think especially the initial translation is like the problem that I have with these issues that people have, which then makes it sound like I'm like in favor of not progressing whatever forward, but I'm more so just against how people express that they want things to change.
Yeah.
Like I definitely want things to change too. I want them to add stuff. I even want them to add stuff that would make it clunky. I want it to be a freaking theme park every time I switch on, dude. That'd be great. But I want people to say it in a way that's not so indignant. Like you're owed this. Like it's just weird to me. Like, I don't know. That just is the thing that makes it less likely for me to agree with anything that anybody says. Like, somebody could be saying like, I want you to give AJ $1 million. And if you're a jerk about it, I'm like, nah, I don't want that $1 million.
I'll take the $1 million for anybody out there who's just giving that. I mean, I've said pretty much all I have to say on this topic, but on the $1 million thing, I always think, this is very tangential. Anytime somebody's like, would you do such and such or such and such for $1 million? It's always really funny just to imagine who's the person who's like this hypothetical millionaire
that would give you $1 million
who's like,
to do the thing that's like
so dumb.
Just close enough to something that you normally wouldn't do, but you would do it if pushed a little bit.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, I really want to meet this super eccentric billionaire that's like, wow, it's so fun to make people eat carrots dipped in, something weird or something like that. I don't know.
The closest person that I know to that's not a billionaire, but I mean, I'd assume has more money than a lot of people.
Mr. Beast. I don't know.
Well, kind of, a little bit. But Gavin Free. From
I don't know who that even is.
Rooster Teeth, slow-mo guys. Okay. He does stuff like that where he's like, man, here's this freaking cup of barbecue sauce. I dare you to drink it. I'll give you $50. Like, he does crap like that. But I think if he had way more money, I feel like he would be that guy.
Yep.
Where it'd be like, if you had $1 million, would you do X, Y, and Z? But yeah.
It's just such a silly thing. But yeah, with millions of dollars comes money. And with money comes buying more Switches. So you know what? There's a lot of Switches being sold out in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a thing that happened.
Gavin Free's also from the UK.
It could have, but I hadn't even heard of
You didn't even know.
But yeah,
you ever saw slow-mo guys before, man?
No, that sounds familiar. I mean, I don't know if I've seen specifically their videos, but I've seen a bunch of slow-mo videos, so probably some of them were theirs.
Wow, dude. Wow.
I guess. Yeah, I'm bad at YouTube, But yeah, this was an article sort of thing, but it more just, so I mean, pretty much apparently in a bunch of areas of the UK, maybe all the UK, maybe just a couple areas, there's no Switches, and it's costs like Amazon UK, it's just a bunch of third-party ones selling for like £500 or something ridiculous. But there's a ton of Switch Lites, which we don't even have to talk about it specifically for the UK, but I noticed the same thing, at least when I went to Target or Walmart the past couple of times, that they had no Switches, had a bunch of Switch Lites. And
so they don't have even have like the old one, like the freaking pleb Switch.
No, yeah, because I guess all of those probably sold out with bundles, I'm guessing, because like the bundles were decent deals for some people or whatever. But yeah, I don't know, I just thought this is interesting, because some people theorize maybe like the reason that there's more of a what am I trying to say? Limited resources of Switches is because they had to divert a bunch of production lines to Switch Lites. So, they had to rely more on backlog of original Switches or something like that.
It's because they're making the Switch Pro too, dude.
Oh, of course.
That's why.
Next week. They're going to announce it in a direct tomorrow. And it came out last year.
Not even. Why is there not I feel like we should have had, first of all, two things that I just noticed after opening this document. Look at how you spell tease.
Yeah, that was a mistake. I think I had the A in there, and then I accidentally deleted it at some point, because I can't imagine myself doing that.
And then the second one, I'm surprised there's nothing in here about a direct, because that, rumors? Funnily enough, was a lot of like your first couple podcasts of us being like, hey man, what's going on with that?
Yep.
So like, I don't know, are we going to talk about that, or
we can? I thought about putting it in, and then I was like, I don't know, I feel like if we start this week and there's not one next week,
we're going to do it every week. We're doing it for the tradition.
Okay, fine, we can talk about it. So let's finish up the Switch selling out thing. Here's the big picture of my thought. I think it's interesting how like Switch Lites are probably selling fine, but I think just by seeing the stock issues, and we haven't seen numbers, so I don't really know, but I wonder if they're not selling as well as they thought they would, compared to now that the Switch Lites are out, more people are there's just still that many more people buying original Switches because everybody realizes the economic benefits of just getting the OG Switch anyway, which we all agree is like, unless you specifically want it handheld or you're a parent and have to get a bunch of them for kids, it's just better to get the original Switch, you know?
I have a theory, and this is the correct one. You're wrong. The correct theory is
glad
that,
to have someone of your prowess here.
Yes. Is that Max L. Wright on Twitter. He is buying all the leftover old Switches.
He's doing it.
And only playing Metroid games on them to inflate the numbers.
Old Metroid games specifically.
Just whatever Metroid game that he can, just any Metroid game he can get his hands on to inflate the numbers so Nintendo sees like, oh, shoot, a lot of people are playing Metroid.
Especially in the UK. Look at those UK Metroid numbers. Wow.
See, that's the thing. That's the genius. That's the brilliance behind it because UK is a region that Nintendo needs to win back, dude.
That's right.
Like, it's the only one that like they're not like hand and fist over everybody else. You know?
Although that said, they put out a list of the top 10 best-selling physical games in the UK last year, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was number 3, and Pokemon Sword was number like 7, and Shield was something, but they totaled up to being equivalent to number like 2, I think, or not 2. Sorry,
was the
4.
rest of the list still PlayStation?
Yeah, probably.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So it's a brilliant plan, but we all know Max isn't a billionaire, so like he's not going to be able to fluff it that much. Man.
No, but maybe he's just rich enough to pay me $1 million to dip a carrot into something. I don't know.
Sure.
Yep. There you go.
Or whatever freaking British equivalent of carrots, and whatever British equivalent of dip.
I mean, it's not the equivalent, but parsnips are something they have there that they don't have in the US. So they're kind of like halfway between a potato and a carrot, I'd say.
What?
Something like that. Parsnips.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a thing. It's
a
like
potato and a carrot.
It's all right. It's somewhere in there. Like that's, I don't know. British people, correct me if you disagree.
I don't even know what is it like. What? Like I would say like between a potato and a carrot is like a sweet potato or something.
I mean, oh yeah, I can definitely see that too. Maybe this is the opposite. So like if a potato and a carrot are here, everybody who's just listening, stop what you're doing and come to YouTube and watch instead. But I'll explain also instead. Carrots on the left, potatoes on the right, and then the top side where they meet is a sweet potato, but the bottom side where they meet is a parsnip. So it's like salty, but it's, you know, as opposed to being sweet where the sweet potato has the sweetness from the carrot, but this has the saltiness from the potato. Guys, we got this. We are vegetable gurus.
Okay. All right. You know what we were talking about earlier? The all stream that I'm not going to elaborate.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
No, that's the secret, dude. This is the secret. It's the answer to all of our problems, man. But yeah,
you're not wrong. We have so many good opinions. Oh, hey, I ate a raspberry earlier because we had some at our house. So just want you to know that I would have eaten more, but I had to come up here.
I need to freaking get my shiny applin, dude. I forgot.
Your shiny raspberry?
No, my shiny applin, so I can tell everybody that they're dumb because like they're stupid.
What do you think about Switches selling out places?
What do you think is the freaking? All right, first of all, you never even weighed in on this. What do you think is
the sour?
Like, this no, not just specifically the original thing that like caused the dispute.
I think I wasn't there. I jumped in when you guys were already arguing about it. I was like, okay, I don't know what's happening, but this is fun.
So I said that. So we were talking about apples, and I was like, Ian from OK Beast was talking about how red apples are for cops, and I was like, "Yep, that's true." And then everybody's like, "What kind of apples do you like?" And I was like, "Granny Smith, man, they're dope." And
Granny Smith are dope.
It's like, and Bob was like, "They're too sour," blah blah. And then I was like, it came along that freaking conversation. I was like, "No, that's stupid. You're dumb." Blah blah. And then oranges came up, and he was like, "I agree. Oranges are better." So I was like, what? I was like, that's the main, like, for me in my brain, when I think the difference between apples and oranges
that's
is
like...
that oranges are more sour. And then Bob was like, oranges aren't sour. What are you talking about? I was like, what?
That's what I would definitely. I think for me, as far as sourness goes, red apples, oranges, green apples.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. I think that oranges are closer to green apples than red apples are to green apples.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you're like, oh, I like oranges more than I like apples, but then you're like, I don't like green apples. I'm like, what do you want in the world then? Because
maybe he wants just a little bit of sour. Not enough that he knows to call it sour, but just a little bit.
But I think that it's not that far. Like the distance between and sourness.
Maybe he's used to clementines, which are like a little bit less sour. Those are.
I just think Bob's
pretty
dumb.
sweet.
I just think that's.
I don't think that's a newsflash for you to think that at least.
But yeah, no, that was stupid. But
we're doing a good job.
Back to Nintendo news, man.
Back to Nintendo news. Nintendo Direct.
Likes oranges and stuff. There's oranges in Pikmin 3.
They do, and
what if there was a Pikmin 4 story or something? That would have been
man, that would have been such a good. But there's not. So unless Pikmin 4 could come up in a Nintendo Direct. There were some SKUs. There were some GameStop SKUs.
Oh, we're talking about this now. I thought
we're talking about this now.
Okay, all right. Mm-hmm.
I think that's the main thing, other than some people being like, here Nintendo Direct's happening.
There hasn't been a Nintendo Direct in a while, and in my brain, retroactively, I'm saying every January they have Directs.
Yep. Oh, you know what? I should ask, because Pixel did say something that I should talk to Pixel and see what's up, and if there's anything to be actually known.
Talk to me. Pixel doesn't like me.
Oh. I haven't talked to him a whole lot, but hopefully just enough that he'll be like, here's the secrets. And I'll be like, aha, I now know my second ever insider thing. Pro tip, our first ever insider thing that we knew was Max told us about Thievel and what's the first evolution of the sneaky fox Pokemon?
Snicket or something.
Snicket,
like that.
yes. Nickit.
Oh, yeah.
Nickit. He told us about Nickit ahead of time, and he was like, there's a sneaky fox Pokemon, that's all I know. There's an insider thing for you, don't tell anyone. And I was like, cool.
I will say, not the first insider thing I knew.
I believe that.
But yeah.
Indeed.
Not one of them, that's not true. The first one since Parker has been a part of this.
In any case, Nintendo Direct probably going to happen at some point within the next month or two. But yeah, there's some Switch SKUs. It seems like it's likely enough to happen soon.
It seems like a carbon copy of last year.
Yeah.
Which, oddly enough, didn't have a January Direct.
True. I wonder if any of that, I don't know, if Metroid stuff messed that up as well. I don't know if it. Well, I don't know.
I feel like they weren't going to put freaking Metroid in a January Direct if it was also. It's not like the game just blindsided them out of nowhere and they thought like we're going to announce this game for this year. Shoot, it's not working, man. I thought you guys were done. Like they knew this game wasn't coming out. In 2019 or whatever. So I don't know.
Who's to say? But maybe my money's on. Never, or the next 2 weeks.
My money is it's going to happen at some point, and I don't know when, and I don't think anybody has any legit, unless they have insider information. Right. But just reading the tea leaves and saying this is what the information that's publicly available. Yeah. There's literally nothing that says that the Direct is going to happen within the next couple of weeks, other than we haven't had one in a while. But there's been times where we did. There was a time when people thought Directs were completely canceled. There was a long string of time where we didn't have Directs. After a while passed, people were like, are we even going to do Directs anymore? So I don't think Directs work in that way, where it's like, well, every 4 months, we're just going to give you information. It's like, nah, when they have information, they'll give it to us. Yeah.
As opposed to the state of plays, for example, seem to be more like every 4 months or every 3 months or whatever it is.
I think even with them, they're like, when we have information, we'll give it to you. But they're trying to also establish it as a thing. Yeah. So the frequency is more than it probably should be with interesting announcements. But they're still in the stages that Nintendo was when Nintendo Direct started, when it's like Mario Kart DLC or like an announcement of languages in a game or whatever, right? Like that type of stuff. They're obviously far past that, where it's like now directs definitely have higher expectations than they did before. Where like
for sure.
pretty much everybody expects them to be like mini E3s, if not full blown E3s.
Yeah.
So I feel like they are holding their cards close to their chest. And obviously, like I said, we're going to get a first direct at some point. They could be announcing a direct on freaking Monday, dude, and that'd be dope, and I'd be hyped. I'd be like, that's great.
I would also be hype.
But I would also be hyped if they said the first direct is freaking February 12th or whatever.
Yeah.
What if it was, dude? What if it was February 12th?
Pro.
What day even is that?
I think it was February 13th last year. Oh, that's a Wednesday. That could happen.
I'm just saying, man.
Just saying.
What if it was? But no. Yeah, like I don't. Obviously, there's going to be a first direct at some point.
Yeah.
It would be freaking fortunate for us if they announce it, because that's more content for us.
That is very true.
I'm just not betting the bank on it. You know, I'm not going to say like putting my freaking flag and saying definitely on this day it's happening, because there's no reason to say any of that.
Yep. But if it does happen, maybe they could announce some Splatoon news, because there was this Splatoon Tessie, because I spelled it wrong.
Yes,
Tease.
That's how.
That's how I'm transitioning into the next thingy that's also related.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that Splatoon thingy with Save Our Salmon in 2020 and whatever.
Yeah, I think anybody that thinks that this means Splatoon 3 is not paying attention to Splatoon.
Yeah.
And I mean, that makes sense, because there's people that don't play Splatoon, obviously. But like, they just wrapped content on this game in 2019.
Do you think it could be another single player DLC thing?
I mean,
that's what I'm thinking is most likely, or a spinoff.
I think it's possible, but I don't necessarily think it's likely.
Or another event.
They sound like they're done with Splatoon 2. They also sound like they're not ready to go full bore into the next thing.
Yeah.
So like, it would be weird to like go from that to being like, okay, we made up our minds, we're doing the next thing and it's done. Like that would be kind of weird. Yeah. I think the only way that I could see that happening is if another team did it, because also another thing of note is that the same team that does this does Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Which again would be weird, because they have a full blown new game out, right? So you would think, unless this team is way bigger than most Nintendo dev teams, you would think that like at most half of that team is working on Splatoon 2 content, and then the other half is working on New Horizons. More realistically, probably like 25% of that team working on Splatoon 3. I mean Splatoon 2 content, and the rest of them are working on New Horizons. So like, if that's the case, even if all 25% of that team moved to Splatoon 3, it's not going to be ready in 2020.
No, yeah. I mean, anything could happen, I suppose, but I would bet almost anything that it's not Splatoon 3. I wonder if it even could be, since it being like Save Our Salmon that's in the thing. I wonder if it could be that they're just changing the Salmon Rush stuff to not being certain times anymore, and are going to make it like offline play or something like that.
I think that would make the most sense, because we do know that there's going to be content. I mean, well, not content, but we do know there's going to be software updates to the game. We don't know what that means, because they said that they're done with content for Splatoon 2. So maybe it is that, where it's like, okay, we're just going to make Salmon Run a regular thing that's just always happening.
Yeah.
I could see that being the case.
Which I think would make a lot of people really excited for at least a short period of time, until they're like, oh, nobody's online. So at the same time, that's
because there's still people that played Splatoon 1 online.
Yeah. I guess I more just meant like, because the reason, at least my understanding was, the reason they didn't have it like that in the first place was to make sure that the times that you wanted to do Salmon Run, there would be a lot of people or whatever, that it wouldn't be hard to match make, whereas maybe this way it would be harder at certain times or whatever. But yeah, still, I mean, that's the case with any online game, I suppose, there's sometimes it's just going to be harder.
I think Nintendo just all of the time, really, at least in the beginning of their like successes, they're really conservative, and they're like, this is probably going to fall flat on its face. So let's do all that we can to make it as successful as it can possibly be with the small pool of people that are going to be playing this. And then by the time it is successful, they're like, well, it's too late to change how we did it.
Yeah.
So we're just going to keep it that way. And then the next time around, they're too like we get a Wii U where it's like we're going to ship freaking 30 million of these things, and you're going to buy them. And it's like,
yeah, that's not really how that panned out, Nintendo.
Yeah, I think that Splatoon 2, like they didn't want to be Wii U. They were like, okay, we're still going to be conservative with this because we have success, but we're not going to assume that it's going to be the most successful thing ever again. You know,
right?
But yeah, I think that the salmon run, we solved it. That's the thing. That's what's happening. 2020, more salmon run crap.
Yeah. Which makes sense because, I mean, yeah, you don't need a full team to develop new stuff or whatever. You can just kind of switch around what's already there, and it would still drum up a lot of excitement because that's something people have been asking for a while, is just to be able to play Salmon Run or other modes whenever they want to. So that stuff. Yeah. People also want to be able to play games wherever they want to, like on the Switch, maybe Red Dead Redemption 2. And there was some... I was
thinking about that. I was thinking about that a while ago. Well, I feel like the last time we talked about like Witcher 3, where like that was like the game in my head that people are like, that's impossible. And I was like, what's left? Like what's left that people can say like that is never going to happen? And Red Dead Redemption 2 would be one of those things. And the next thing would be the other thing I put in your thumbnail, which is
right.
77.
Yeah.
Which I think just with the knowledge that I have of like that stuff and how that works, none of it is really impossible.
Right.
A lot of it is improbable because of the amount of time and like readjustment that would need to be done. It's just not something that they want to do for one reason or another.
Yeah. And I would have said that CD Projekt or that Cyberpunk's 2077 was improbable because of CD Projekt Red, and it was just like, oh, I just didn't know if they'd want to bother with. But then they did The Witcher 3, so like, okay, well, they bothered at least enough to do that.
Like the thing in my head was like, they seem like the type of studio I was like, we don't want to sacrifice our vision or whatever, right? And they did it, so I was like, hey, doors open now. Do it again. And so, I mean, they mentioned it where like they kind of were like, oh no, man, like we'll see, maybe if we have time, like that sort of thing. So,
No, I
just think Rockstar games make a lot of sense because. They're the type of studio that can put anything anywhere and it would find an audience.
Yeah.
So like them putting their game on whatever platform would be beneficial to them because they can get the most penetration out of anybody else.
Yeah.
Aside from Nintendo on a Nintendo platform.
Right.
Like when they put their game on a platform, it's going to sell to the highest percentage that literally any other game would on that platform.
I think the thing with this that's funny, so the two like sources, quote unquote, on it, unless there might be other like background conversation that's happening that's more legitimate, but the two things that are talking about it, or that are like the proof, whatever, is one of them is that in its code, on the PC version, there's code for a Switch controller, which people are like, oh, well, because you can use your Pro controller on the PC. So like, that makes sense. So I'm not kind
of weird to have specific code for the Pro controller when like that's already like at least like for Macs. I don't know how different it is for PC because I wouldn't freaking touch one of those by choice. It's a system-wide thing. Like I plug my freaking Switch into my computer and it's like, that's a Nintendo Switch controller.
I think it's because in game there's like tutorial-y things where it's like, if you want to do this, press this button or this button. And so I think it recognizes it's something along those lines was my understanding of it. So that's like, I mean, that could be something
like I would think that especially on PC that they wouldn't even do that. Like they would kind of do something closer to what Switch does because of the Joy-Con, where it shows where the button is rather than what the button is.
Right.
But I mean, if it's like press X, it's like press the top button.
Yeah. But I think those might be different. I don't know. In any case, who's to say? I think that bit's like not very strong, but it's like it could be something, but it also could very well easily be nothing. And then the other one is that a site, and I don't remember what site it was, but it was the same one that listed Metro Prime Trilogy up before Game Awards last year. Not last year anymore, 2 years ago. Oh, crazy. 2018. And they have put up a bunch of stuff as like, maybe this is going to happen like Bully 2 that hasn't been announced in GTA 6 or whatever. They just put those up because they're like, maybe, you never know. So that being up there, like that doesn't mean a lot. But so in any case, those sources don't seem super reliable. But as far as the actual like conversation of it coming, I guess my thoughts on it are the main reasons why I don't think it necessarily would are because and I was talking about this in the Discord just a little bit ago with Chicapo and stuff, is because Rockstar, I just don't know if they haven't bothered with GTA 5, and like the only game that they've done was LA Noire. So like there's not precedent to show that they're going to take the time to do Switch stuff. Not to say they wouldn't, but they just haven't. And then the other bit just being actual space constraints, like not being able to fit the game on something or whatever. But really my question, because it takes up 2 Blu-rays for Red Dead Redemption 2, but they also talked about how, like, yes, the horses, testicles shrink up and that kind of thing. And I'm like, you could just don't do that. Don't have that in there. And that's going to take up that much less space.
I think that's the thing that really differentiates the Switch version from the like PS4 and like PlayStation and the freaking PC and all that crap, is because those games take up that much space on those platforms because
they don't care.
Can handle no. It's because those platforms can handle those things uncompressed. You don't gotta mess with those assets. Exactly. You could just dump as much as you want, and it's going to run that game. Relative, obviously, you can't put anything that you want in the game, but you know what I'm saying. Whereas on the Switch, there's a lot of stuff that it just wouldn't be able to run, so that would inherently save you space. Where it's like I gotta compress this audio because it's not going to work the same, so that's going to be small. Like that sort of thing. And there's just certain like assets that they would have to change and like animations that wouldn't work the same way. That's going to like a lot of stuff would be smaller. In addition, which I think is the biggest thing that's like people are like maybe is apparently this year is when Nintendo's going to start supporting 64 gigabyte Switch cards, which I think makes a lot of sense for like more third parties and like that sort of thing. Also, you would think that them doing that would then mean that a lot of the other cards, and just because how time works, a lot of the other cards will be cheaper. So I think this game, alongside other like third-party games that like Grand Theft Auto 5, could be more feasible. And I think that Rockstar sounds pretty positive on the Switch, but it just doesn't. It didn't seem like a lot of stuff lines up for them because like they're now with like Red Dead and you would assume like GTA 6 or whatever they're doing after Red Dead, that they're usually all hands on for that. For the big games that they do now. They used to be like, okay, we have 5 studios and everybody's working on something different or whatever, right? But now they're like, no, all hands on deck. We're all working heads down on this one game. That's it. So I just don't know if that was a factor too. We're just like, we're already all working on this other thing. And we don't want to make that like change because of Switch or whatever.
For what it's worth too, I feel like, people are frustrated when there's a game that has a manual download or an additional download. But when it's like, a 16 gig game and they put it on a 4 gig or 8 gig cartridge, and then you have to do the additional, or say it's 15 gigs, or 12 or something like that, where it's like they could have just gotten the size up. Then that's annoying because it's like you could have just gotten the size up. But then like say this, it's on a 32 gig cartridge. It's got 32 gigs of stuff on there. And then you also have to download 15 extra gigs or something like that. I don't know that people would be that mad because at this point, everybody's got micro SD cards to be able to put it on. They're super cheap to get more and stuff. So like if it's like, they did all they could to get it on there. And then it like, I think people would just appreciate like, oh, cool. A game that I want is on the platform that I want. And they couldn't fit it on the cartridge that, existed or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that for me, at least, a big reason why I don't get physical stuff on the platforms that like now, because Switch is like, well, most of the games I get sent to me. So it's like, I might as well just have uniformity and have all my games on one thing. But for PlayStation and Xbox, it's like, well, I got to freaking install it anyway. So I might as well have the convenience of having it installed. that for me is the reason why. Because like, still, like, I just don't want to do that.
You still have to pull out a cartridge and do the thing. Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah, it's like just because the space constraint is there and it's taking up space on my hard drive, I'm like, well, I'd rather just go full bore and take all the space, and then I have the convenience for it.
yeah, exactly. Because that said, I don't know. I'd be curious about this and if it happens or not, but I think they could pare down a lot of things to be fine for it to work. Like, I think the reason, again, it is so big is just because of the choices they decided to make as far as extra detail and stuff that's not necessary, but is like, wow, that's impressive. But
I think the core of the game and the core of most games, if not all current ones, is feasible on most hardware in the last like 10 years. Like, I think a lot of the games that we're playing now on like freaking Xbox One X could be done on Xbox 360, but they just wouldn't look as good.
Yeah.
And I know, like, just speaking personally, I couldn't care less if the game that I'm playing looks worse if I can play it.
Like, I mean, honestly, like Divinity Original Sin, something I really appreciate about that is like there's a couple fast travel points throughout the world, and when you go from one to the other, it's like instantaneous. You're there to there. But for the first 15 probably seconds, a lot of the textures are just like slowly kind of reappearing. Like all the things are there, but the textures at the beginning, if you're traveling somewhere that's like all the way on the other side of the world, is gross because it's not loaded in at all. So they just load in like the super bare assets. But then suddenly they start appearing more and then it looks good. But like, I really appreciate that I don't have to wait around for it to load. So even though it looks like kind of like garbage for like 15 seconds, that's fine. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of thing are choices that I think are good ones to make. And for this kind of game as well, where it's like, oh, if you can just play it, then that's half the battle. I mean, that's the whole battle, really.
Because I just know that, like, again, I have these platforms. I have that game. Yeah. I'm way less likely to play it on either one of those platforms because that's just not what I'm playing. I'm not playing my Xbox. I'm not playing my PlayStation. My PlayStation's still up there. But if they put it on Switch, I'm way more likely to play it. And again, I don't care what it looks like. I just care that I can pick up my freaking tablet and play it on that.
Yep. But yeah, speaking of platforms and stuff like that, the last news bit that we've got is a bunch of analysts gave their predictions for this next year. And one of those is Serkan Toto. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but you know what? Here we are. We did it. Good job, everybody. And he gave some predictions. One of the ones last year, some of his last year predictions were the Switch Pro and Switch Lite for 2019. The Switch Lite happened. The Switch Pro did not. So easy guess to just keep saying the Switch Pro is going to happen again. But he talked about it, and here's what he said, and then we'll talk about this. And it'll go a little bit into my video, too, and we'll pull some comments from there just because it all kind of ties in.
That's why you moved my video.
That's the one. I did.
Very upset. I put an angry face.
I know, and then if you scroll down to where you wrote that, I wrote right afterwards, and I put a smiley face.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
I'm super nice. The nicest there's ever been.
I put another angry face. Oh, you delete? Oh, no, you didn't. I thought you deleted my angry face and put a happy face, but you wrote
of course
more
not.
stuff.
I just wrote more stuff afterwards because I'm friendly.
Yeah.
Okay, so he says, Switch Pro launch for 2020. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that Nintendo will launch a Switch Pro in 2020. My guess is at $399, so $400. More specifically, I predict 4K support, bigger cartridge sizes, and of course, beefed up components. I also think the device will launch after the summer holidays to counter the rollout of the PS5 and next-gen Xbox later in the year, along with a first-party system seller game. I have thoughts. I would be curious to hear your thoughts first.
I think that a lot of people are like, I don't know if they'll do a Switch Pro. That doesn't seem like a Nintendo thing to do, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of stuff that they did this generation weren't Nintendo things to do. And I think that them partner with NVIDIA and how they sound with their partnership and how they think about it, they sound like they're in this for continuous, like, more iterations on the chipset and like all that stuff. And that to me sounds like they're going to do multiple hardware revisions, and to go up and down in specs for those hardware revisions, it just makes a lot of sense. You know, like just for like how to make that happen with that partnership on NVIDIA's end. I think that it would help Nintendo to have something like that, where it's like they have this premium platform or whatever, where it's like this is for the people that like the me's of the world, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like you would play these games, but like if you could play them on Switch, you know, like I don't really care if the Switch that I have now can't play them. I don't really give a crap about that.
Yeah.
If I had to buy another Switch to be able to play them, I would do that. I think there's a lot of people that would want to also play them, but they can't buy a Switch Pro. And I mean, that's unfortunate. But I don't know. It'd be kind of weird to like not do it and completely cut off that potential additional revenue stream for the people that in theory would want that, but couldn't get it anyway.
Yeah.
You know? Because it's not like once they do that, no games will come to the regular Switch. I still feel like the bulk of like Nintendo's games would be developed for that spec. And a lot of the other games from third parties would also be developed for that spec, but the third party games that wouldn't come to Switch anyway would come to this, and then maybe they'll come to freaking the cloud or whatever. Yeah. So I'd be open to it. I don't know if I would, again, bet the bank on whether they're saying like they're definitely going to do a Switch Pro, because again, there's no real precedent for that. They've done like the new freaking
3DS XL,
3DS or whatever. Yeah, that they did that, but even that is like not really that different for them.
So, I think my thoughts overall are, I think something Switch Pro-esque is entirely likely and possible, but I don't know that I see it the same way that he does and some other people do, where it's like exponentially stronger than the current Switch. And like, because I brought it up in my video too, and like I'll read some comments related to this as well. I don't think that it's the answer to the next gen consoles so much as I think Nintendo operating in their own space of like, oh, we can do more upgraded hardware stuff now, and we can make our like the games that are on here run better. Because the problem to me is, and like also this isn't to say that Nintendo wouldn't do it, because they, again, like with the Switch Lite, they cut out, you know, the whole docking aspect of the Switch, and like that's like it's not a Switch without a Switch, blah blah blah. But so they could do whatever they want. But if I were working at Nintendo in any case, I guess, I wouldn't think that it would be a good idea to make a console that would have to be so much stronger that a lot of third parties would be incentivized to make Switch Pro only games, because I guess the comparison, I guess that also I made in the video, was with the new 3DS. It's a handheld, and it's like going to play completely different games than you'd be playing on your, like on the, you know, home console things and stuff like that. So third parties, if they were going to develop something for the 3DS, it wasn't like, oh, we've got to get this home console game running on this thing, so we're going to have to squeeze everything out of it by using the new 3DS XL or the new system of it. So instead they would just, you know, pare the whole thing down and then make it be a little bit better on the other one. Obviously there are some games like Monster Hunter or whatever that came out with it. Whereas for this, a Switch Pro, if they're trying to get the same games, like bring them down the same games from, you know, that they have running on other platforms, then they'd be super likely then to just make it for the Switch Pro, except for then it would alienate the whole rest of the user base. So like there wouldn't be as many sales. I don't know. So it's like an interesting thing. I don't know.
I don't think there's any difference between, like, in that regard, between how you view that and how they would view that. Because you got to think, like, if you're thinking, like, man, that would alienate the user base and people wouldn't like that very much.
Right.
A freaking multi-million to multi-billion-dollar corporation is also going to think, man, that's going to cut into our, because it's not like Switch Pro games are going to get them any more revenue. They're not going to then be able to say, oh, now we can charge $120 since it's on, and they're not going to do that. It's still going to be a $60 game. So I feel like the games that are going to be on Switch Pro would be games that are like Minecraft, right? Where it's like, well, we couldn't freaking get this running on the regular 3DS, but we can get it running on this one. So like I could see them doing something like that, where it's like we could not possibly get this running on the regular Switch, but we can get it running on the Switch Pro.
Yeah, I guess.
And also we can throw Switch people a bone and put it on cloud or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then even that could solve the whole thing, because like the question with cloud is like, well, what happens if the cloud freaking whatever, right?
Yeah.
You can still future-proof people like that.
That would honestly, that would be a very good, like if you have both of those things together, that would work out pretty well.
Because like that could be an interim solution. It could be a thing of like, okay, I can't afford a Switch Pro now, but I mean, so I'll just get this cloud version of this game, but I'll get the Switch 2 when that comes out. And then the cloud version, I can it'll say on the eShop, like, oh, you own this game. So you can just download it, right? Like they could easily do something like that.
Yeah. I would be down with that. I think it's just, there's a lot of caveats of how they could go about all this stuff. I don't know. What do you think about like this being, 4K, $400, those kinds of things?
I think that like if they did 4K, it would be in the way that like the freaking PlayStation 4 Pro does 4K.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's 4K. And it's kind of like how like last generation did 1080. And by last generation, I mean 360 PlayStation.
Yeah, right.
Did 1080p, where it's like some games were 1080p, but most of them were 720p and maybe upscaled to 1080p. That sort of thing. I think that's how 4K is going to work for the next, because that's how Nintendo operates, right? Where it's like they do it technically on a technical level. They do what the other guys did, but later. So like, and a little bit better. So like the Wii U is a little bit more powerful than Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. And then the next generation they did a little bit better than Wii U, because that was a weird stopgap or whatever. But I think that the next generation is going to be like whatever Xbox One, the original one, and PlayStation 4, whatever they can do, but a little bit better. So I think that they'll like kind of flirt with 4K a little bit, but they won't like go full bore like Xbox One X 4K sometimes, because even that's not 4K all the time, but it's 4K sometimes. So I think if we're looking at like the special, it's kind of like how there's some freaking 1080i games on GameCube or whatever. I think that's how 4K will work on this one, bro, where it's
probably the games that you want to be running 4K aren't the ones that are actually going to be running 4K.
Exactly. It's going to be like if there were freaking 200 Switch Pro games, I think 5 of them will be 4K. Well, I think that would be like, but all the rest of them would be like solid 1080p, 60 frames per second sort of thing. That's what I could see.
Let's get into some comments real quick that'll be talking about this. So this is my video. We talked about third parties in 2020 and moving forward. So Instinct Lab says, a Switch Pro that stands between base and X models of Xbox One is all we need. We're at a point of excessive power making little difference in gameplay quality. Next gen Xbox and PlayStation will be like current high-end gaming PCs, which currently play the same multiplats at higher frame rates and resolutions. Like, at the end of the day, Witcher 3 is still Witcher 3. One version will be 4K 120 FPS and another can be 720p 30 FPS. Like, how much bigger and pretty are games going to get? Then you have other massively successful hits like Overwatch, Rocket League, or Fortnite that don't exactly push modern hardware that are insanely fun and running fine on Switch.
Yeah, he basically said exactly what I said. Where it's like, I think that's what they're going to do. It's going to, or what they should do, and what I would imagine they would, because that's what they have done in the past. If you look at where Nintendo has gone,
the thing that I wonder
lands somewhere in between current gen and last gen.
The thing that I wonder with the because we always talk about how like pretty much any game could run on a lot of things and that whole thing. I do wonder with the next gen if there's going to be more games that, because of the solid state drive kind of situation, that the same games could run again just pared down, but would end up suffering from where those are able to take advantage of like short loading times and what that could mean for actual like gameplay stuff. I don't know what all that would necessarily imply. If some of that would be like, it would still run on Switch, but it would be so much more annoying.
I think the thing that is fortunate for Nintendo is that, and I mean as a developer and a platform holder, is that no other developer thinks like that. No other developer is saying, okay, And if there are ones, they're very, very, very rare, and they're not the popular ones. They're not like, okay, what for gameplay do we get? What do we gain access for gameplay with this next generation? They see next generation, they're like, ooh, we can make it prettier. We can make the water look better, dude. It's going to be great. But Nintendo's like, okay, what for gameplay? They're like, Miyamoto thinks, oh man, the resolution on the GameCube's so much higher. We can make Pikmin. You know, like there's not a lot of developers that do stuff like that. They think like, oh man, we can add more particle effects, dude. It's gonna be great. So like, I don't see that happening. There might be like some things that they're like, hey, it's like the features that they had kind of with Xbox One and PlayStation 4, where it's like you could freaking start playing your game before it's done downloading. Like they did that sometimes, but it's like a playground area kind of sort of situation. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to do gimmicky stuff like that. Where it's like you could play your game as it downloads. It's not going to be like a feature that's inherent to like the gameplay. I think if anybody's going to do anything like that, it's going to be the gen after next gen for Nintendo. They're going to be the ones to do stuff like that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. The next comment is from Iacona23, who said, it would make for a much better user experience if a Switch Pro in 2020 could allow current Switch games to run better with a stable 720p mobile and 1080p docked at 30 to 60 frames per second. I think that the next Switch could remove some bottlenecks in memory, bandwidth, speed, and the amount of RAM, and with perhaps better CPU plus GPU performance in an upgraded NVIDIA SoC. I'm sorry that Arthur is barking in the background. I'm sure you can hear it.
No problem.
Yeah, dogs and stuff. He's a dog.
He wants to freaking sound off, man. He's like, nah, man. The Switch Pro is going to run at 8K. Y'all dumb.
I mean, he's got dog brains. He knows stuff. He's sniffing it out, sniffing into the future. Into the future. As long as the Switch Pro can match or exceed the power of the 2013 era PS4, then we can continue to get ports of older games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Jedi Fallen Order, as well as future games designed for both PS5 and PS4. It won't be 40K 60, but it might be 720 to 1080p at 30 FPS. I think that these upgrades could be done fairly economically so that Switch Pro could maintain the current $299 price point.
Yeah, I think if they do that, and they make it $300, then yes, this is around what it would be. But I think what is more likely, because of how really Microsoft, how their business model works, and I think that Nintendo is more like Microsoft than they are like Sony, where they want to be like just a entertainment company. They're not trying to do like the gaming company like status quo of like, this is what we expect. We expect one console and we expect it to be done like this, and this is how it works. They're like, nah, we just make products, dude. So like I could see them saying we have the Switch Lite, we have the regular Switch for $300, and then we have the Switch Pro, which is $400 or $350 or whatever they do, right? I don't see them really having a problem with having a Switch Pro for more than what the current price point is.
Right.
Unless what their main goal is to make the Switch more and more like a handheld, in which case I could see them saying, okay, now the Switch Pro is $300 and the Switch is $200 and the Switch Lite is $100.
Yeah.
That's also a possibility that I can see them go downward.
Man, they would
both
be
of them could
so
be
many
beneficial
Switch Lites.
Yeah, exactly. Both of them could be beneficial for different reasons.
Yeah.
It really just depends on what they want to do. And you know what I think is the biggest factor to whether or not they increase performance or not? I think it's their developers. If their developers are telling them like, okay, we get this 1080p stuff, man. We understand it. We want to really push our performance. We understand HD development, blah, blah. I think that will push them to say, okay, all right, we'll give you more performance. That's really just what determines all this stuff. And they talk about that all the time, where it's like, that's what pushes them to upgrade the hardware, is when their developers say, yo, we need more.
Yeah. Interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, I wouldn't be surprised at any point when the Switch Pro comes out or is announced or whatever, because I think if it doesn't happen, that would be almost weird, but also not like, I'm not expecting anything in particular. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious. I think, the only thing that I'm not afraid of so much is just like would be a shame is if they do really anything to alienate a major part of their user base. And so that just comes down to almost marketing to some degree, because like if they do market stuff as like the Switch Pro will get the games that could only run on the Switch Pro, like that would kind of also be not as great marketing for the original Switch, because it's like, oh, it's not even that strong, whatever, I guess. But there's so many games on it that I don't think people would really care.
Yeah, I don't think that matters. I think that like it's still in theory going to be, which would be good for them. I think that it's still going to be how the Switch works now, where the Switch Lite is out, and like you would think that it's like, oh, a cheaper Switch, that means more people will buy this. But all that's really doing is like getting people to think about the Switch more. And they're like, oh, I can get this for cheaper. And then the person at the store is like, yeah, but if you spend $100 more, you get like, you get so much more. And they're like, all right, I'll buy that one. I think that's
like getting a medium at Burger King or whatever.
Right, exactly. I think that's the most likely thing, where it's like it'll open a conversation and people are like, well, the freaking regular Switch is cheaper now or whatever, right? I can buy that. And they're like, yeah, but you can get a Switch Pro, dude. That's like an Xbox One in your hand. You know? Like you can have one of those. And then they buy that. So I don't know.
That said, none of these comments talked about the xCloud kind of thing or whatever, but like depending on how that's done, because it could be treated somewhat poorly, I suppose. But even if it's just xCloud and Games Pass, like that would be really, I think that would be a great additional solution on top of other things, because it would just be fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for the people that just like flat out could not afford or don't want to upgrade or whatever, that's a good
like intermediary.
Because a lot of the people that do stuff like that, and I mentioned this in the video that I did last week or the week before that. The week before that, Animal Crossing was last week. Where there's like people that get this stuff like us. They're like, man, the thing just came out. I want the thing. And then we buy that and we play the games as they come out. But then there's also people that are like, oh, this is neat. I'll see this at the end of its life cycle. And then they buy it. I could see, I don't really think those people are the ones that are like, oh, man, new game is out on Switch and I can't play it because I have old Switch.
Yeah, right.
I think they're like, all right, whatever. I'll just get that game when I get the next one.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. I think, I'm honestly like, so if xCloud stuff doesn't happen on Switch, because we were watching, what were we watching? The Game Awards, and I think Hellblade Senua 2, whatever it was called.
Senua Saga, something like that.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Senua Saga. That trailer came on, and Ashley was like, like I love having this. I love that we have the Switch and get to play the games that we do and stuff. But like, I'd also love to play some games that look. Maybe it wasn't that trailer, but I think it was some games that look more like like real and whatever and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. So I think there's a chance if xCloud doesn't come to the Switch, at which point we'd be able to play stuff like that, to have better graphics or whatever. Then I'd probably end up getting whatever the cheapest option is to do probably xCloud kinds of things, whether that's Xbox One X at that point, or if they end up doing the cheaper Xbox Series X or Series S or whatever it is.
And that's the funny thing. Like I wasn't even thinking about it like that, but Xbox is literally doing what I said. That they should, where it's like, they have the old version that lets you play the new games just by streaming them.
Yep.
So especially if they are looking to Xbox like that, and if they're partnering with Xbox for xCloud, I think that's even more likely. Like if we see a freaking announcement for like xCloud coming to Switch or whatever, I'm like, yep, that's what's going to happen. They're going to do it. Confirmed. I'm going to be like, in the freaking January 2021 Direct when they announced the Switch Pro, that's going to be me. Once they announce that.
Moving on with more comments. These are less hardware related and more just third-party other stuff. Jonathan Farah says, Nintendo should acquire some more game studios to bolster first-party lineup, ? Grezzo, Next Level, Vanpool, Shinin, Good Feel. Maybe some indies like Team Cherry and Brace Yourself. So I think this is as far as like if they lose.
It should have been a comment on one of my videos because I talked about all these studios.
True.
Did I? No, I didn't talk about Good Feel. I don't think. No, I don't
I
think
think my thoughts with this are, I think I think it depends on how they're managed as third party or second party, because some of those are kind of second party studios. Obviously, the indies are indies, and Shin is third party.
But like second party doesn't, and they talk about this a lot. Like a lot of platform holders talk about how like second party doesn't really. It's not a thing,
right?
Like it's
really third party that just works more exclusively. Oh, it's more first party.
They view it's like second party games as first party games.
Okay.
At least that's how like PlayStation and Xbox do. I would assume that that's how Nintendo does too, because just look at how they market them.
Yeah, right.
They don't really make the star of the show the developer. You know, I think that Nintendo only buys studios when they feel like they need to.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It's like if
Retro, they acquired Retro because they were just freaking all over the place, man. They're like, man, there's no direction here. We spent a lot of money on partnering with this guy and like starting this thing together where they were like minority owners or whatever. We don't want to lose this investment, so we're just going to buy it. Yeah. I think that's the only time that they buy studios these days. Outside of that, it's also like stuff like Monolith, where they're like, okay, yeah, we think that this will be a really big deal for us moving forward. So we'll acquire this studio that we already have like a major stake in one way or another. But stuff like Grezzo and Next Level Games and like the people that already are like gung-ho about like, yeah, man, we're Nintendo developers, like, and everything but like actual like legality. They're like, yeah, man. Like they're like, hey, if we already have that distinction in their minds for free, why pay for it?
Yeah. I think that's the thing is like right now for the ones that are managed well on their own as second parties or whatever, I think it's better for everybody involved for them to just stay kind of how they are, because they can do because Nintendo can still like help give them resources if they need to on stuff or whatever that looks like. But I think with those it's just I don't know that Nintendo would get that much more out of as far as like it solving the problem of other third parties leaving, Nintendo buying these to have more first parties. I don't know that they get more results out of those companies than they already are, because they're already getting pretty good results out of those companies.
I think that the only way that it would be that would be because it would be beneficial to any of these studios because they would have security,
right? They get cash buyout,
to do bigger things, and not even just that, but they have Nintendo money now. Yeah.
Was Alpha Dream, were they second party?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But just because for Nintendo, the only thing that it would be like fortunate for them is that like they can lock them down and say you're not making PlayStation games anymore, but they don't do it anyway. Yeah. Exactly. So that's why they don't really need to do it. It's just like we would literally only be benefiting you guys. Yeah. We get no benefit from this. I think that the only way
they only absorb some risk at that point, because like if Alpha Dream was part of Nintendo, then they would be taking that loss, which kind of sucks on Alpha Dream's part, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, if they were part of Nintendo, they would. I mean, I think that a lot of that was a management thing. If they were if they were part of Nintendo, they would have had different projects, and their money would have been handled differently. Yeah. So that was unfortunate for them that Nintendo didn't feel the need to be like, yeah, let's buy them.
But I do hope all those companies keep making some good games, and it seems like they will be. So that kind of thing. So I think Jonathan, good. The heart is there, but I don't know if it's even think we'll be good even without them doing that. But I do want Nintendo to work more with like indies and stuff like that, because we all know that could be dope. Next comment, Danny Alfonso says, easy solution, have Switch for Nintendo games, PS5 and PC for other games. And while I agree, that's kind of not the point.
Yeah. Also, if I'm buying a PC, I'm not buying a PlayStation 5.
True.
It's just not happening. Like, oh no, I can't play Uncharted. Like I don't like the game anyway. So
yeah, I mean, looking into the next generation, like if I were to get something else, like I said, probably would end up being an Xbox, the cheapest Xbox console that will play xCloud and Games Pass stuff, for just the obvious reasons of like, then I can not have to make as much of an invest. Like, I don't want to spread myself too thin and have to buy like $60 games on this platform and $60 blah, whatever, that whole thing. Like a lot of those games aren't ones that I will want to really care about in the long term and own. Like I just don't care if I own Tomb Raider, Shadow of whatever, you know, a Tomb Raider game, but I'd like to play one. Yeah. So, you know,
the way that I handle it is just in the, like, cause I'm freaking impulsive. So like I see the new thing and there's at least 2 games that I want. And I'm like, I'm going to buy that just for this, like the freaking peace of mind that if 3 years down the line, a game gets announced that I want to play, I can just play it. I don't have to buy the console. I already have it. I could just play that thing. Which is why I have a PlayStation 4, even though it's up there. And why I'll have a PlayStation 5 and a freaking Xbox Series X or whatever. But if I didn't hate Windows, I would probably just have a PC and also a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
But since I do, I actually save money by buying the Xbox and also the PlayStation.
I mean, and the thing, I think, I think that is a solution, is getting multiple platforms and stuff like that. But the point kind of being, well, the point of the video more so, I guess, is like, how are third parties going to treat the Switch? I don't think having a PS5 changes how they treat the Switch. Yeah. But is, you know, what will, like, I would rather play any games on the Switch. Okay. That just, you know, that's just what it is, because that's how I'm going to prefer to play.
Yeah. How do those developers actually appease us, and not how do we deal with that, since they won't?
Right.
That's a different
video. Yep. True. And the last comment, this is from LY, and this is a similar kind of thing. If a game, except for the opposite, I suppose, if a game I want to play is on the PS5 and the Switch, I'm going to buy the one for the Switch. Yeah, it isn't going to look the prettiest or the best performance, but I can play it on the go. That means 100 times more to me than better graphics or performance. The Switch does good enough, and it's portable. That's my 2 cents. I can understand why some people would prefer PS5 over the Switch, though.
Yeah, I'm the same way, except like I mean, I care that it's portable, and that ends up not mattering a whole lot, because like when I'm out, I'm out. Yeah. But like if I'm for whatever reason I'm freaking on a train or whatever, and I have 3 seconds, I'm like, yeah, freaking play Captain Toad or whatever. Yeah. But I just like being able to pull my Switch out the dock and lay down. And
for me, on the go means laying in bed, means sitting on the couch while Ashley's watching something on the TV, means bringing it to work and playing on my lunch break. Like it's usually not like the picturesque kind of playing on the go, other than maybe if I'm going to travel somewhere. Like being able to play Fire Emblem on my work trip when I went whatever last year was like, that was dope, because I had lots of time to kill between meetings and stuff. But I think for the most part, it's just like couch time.
I think it would become more about like the actual traveling part, the bigger this gets, because the more conventions and all that stuff. True. Because with PAX, when that happens, the one convention I actually do, PAX and too many games. Yeah. Switch is a freaking godsend, dude. We were gonna play. See, that's the thing though, because we wanted to play Smash Brothers, and we're like, really trying to do it, man. We're going to play Smash at the freaking meet and greet, man, and we never got to do it. It took us. PAX is 4 days, and it was like the 3rd day that we were like, yay, we can play it now because we streamed it. And that'll probably happen again.
Yep. But that's it for my video. Let's talk about your video.
I made a video.
Y'all ready for this? Here we go. It was on Mario games. Games that you might or want to see.
I wasn't even thinking about the Mario anniversary or nothing. See, that's the thing, right? That was old school fanatics, where I just freaking tripped into being on time for things, where it's like, oh shoot, like this video is super timely, but now I'm timely on purpose, except for with this video. This video I was just like, Mario's going to happen, and like I don't know literally anything else I want to talk about, so let's talk about Mario.
Let's talk about Mario.
Also, I like making videos that set a precedent for other videos if they do well. Because now I can do Zelda, and I can do freaking Pokemon or whatever, you know? And know that it will do well.
True. First comment is from Pocahontas, who said, Always Been Around is just a second and new channel I'm using. Just wanted to say I love seeing fanatixfour in my feed, and to realize it's AJ's calming voice on the other end. Keep it up, guys. Love your videos. Thanks. 3D Mario World and 3D Mario World and Wario game has always been rumored. Has already been rumored. I think it would be funny to see Mario and all the characters do cheerleading and dance routines, not in a just dance way, but for exercising like Zumba, and everyone has funny 70s workout tights and Speedos, etc. And there's quirky music, LOL.
So like a would that be more like a freaking Mario and Sonic at the Olympics sort of thing? Like a mini game, or like it would be like a Zumba game?
That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, I guess more like, yeah, both, you know? Who's to say? That would be really funny though.
Crocahannes is to say.
True. Let us know everywhere. That is the places. Next up, IM2458 or EM2458. Who's to say? It says
he is, or she. Probably he.
You know,
speaking of that, man, freaking YouTube pro tip, dude.
Yeah.
Make Animal Crossing videos if you're a gaming channel, because like that, no joke, exponentially increases our female demographic. Like,
yeah, I did notice.
Literally, every time I make an Animal Crossing, and this is no exaggeration, our overall female demographic doubles. Every time. So it's like, man, like I need to make more Animal Crossing videos, because our female demographic is higher than the wolf dens.
Nice.
Significantly. Like I remember Bob, he
and they've got that silky smooth long hair, you know. I mean,
man.
On their channel.
And we're not even always on camera.
That's true. I haven't been the past 2 weeks.
I
was going to this week.
I wasn't. I was like for freaking Christmas and a New Year's Eve video, or New Year's. I think it was New Year. It was New Year's Eve.
Yeah, it was New Year's.
It was New Year's. Wait, no, it was New Year's Eve.
It was New Year's Eve. Yeah. I just meant New Year's season.
Yeah, it was New Year's Eve. Then a video went up, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to do off cam, because that's so much easier. Like I realize, like, especially with how I've been doing it lately, where it's like I do all the scripting and recording and stuff like that the day before, and then I do literally everything else the day of. Like I'll wake up at like, I don't know, like 7, which is like
so early. Oh my goodness,
stupid for me. No, it is though. I know. It's real early because I go to sleep at 3.
I know. It's just funny because I wake up at like 5:45 most days to go to work.
Yeah, I see, but this is the thing. This is the difference. I go to sleep at 3. And on days that I don't wake up at 7, I go to sleep at like freaking 6, and I wake up at like 11. So it's like, I don't sleep that much. I just go to sleep at bad times. But anyway, I'll freaking wake up early, and then I'll edit literally everything, and I'll shoot the thing. So it's like I have like deadlines within that time where it's like I have to be done this off-cam edit by like 2 o'clock so I can shoot the video and then freaking export it, put it on my computer, edit that, and then put it in the thing, and then export it out of the Final Cut and be done. That completely removes that step. So I can be done with the off-cam stuff by 2, and then just, be done for the rest of the day at 2. And that's great.
Yep. This is true.
So yeah, that's why I haven't been on camera, but I'm going to be on camera next week.
True. And there we go. The comment says, how about Super Mario Time Travels? It's Sonic Generations, but Mario. Edit. Or the final installment of the linear 3D Mario games. Basically, the sequel to 3D World / threequel to 3D Land. I call it Super Mario 3D Universe.
So I was thinking about this comment, and at first I was like, and I was like, oh, wait, because it could definitely be like a Sonic Generation sort of thing, because it kind of encompasses everything, right? Like, because they could do like, because freaking Mario Odyssey, for example, is about literal travel. If they do a time travel one, they could do Mario Odyssey 2, and then be time traveling and use the freaking Odyssey to time travel.
I mean, honestly, yeah, because
you could do Mario Galaxy, you could do Mario 3D World.
Because the 2D, like, you've got plenty of 2D sections in Odyssey, so like that's not too unusual, and just have the art change at every time and stuff like that. It'd be cool.
They could do it.
I'd be down.
I'd probably make a video about that.
Yep. Well, there you go.
Not next
And
week.
then we'll have to find out how to credit IM or EM 2458.
I could say hi video. I'm putting this in there.
No, I just mean like
This is too long.
we don't know how to say IM or EM.
Oh, that's true. Let us know in the comments.
You know,
I just put his name on the screen. I just freaking screenshot the comment and say
being.
this person said.
Yeah, that works. Next comment says from Carrie Brandis says, I think it would be super cool if they did half 2D, half 3D game based on Mario 3D World. Half the levels being 2D using the engine they used in Mario Maker, and the other half being 3D based on 3D World. I think that may be a good way to bring something new to the 2D Mario series. They could either split up the levels entirely or make the switches between 2D and 3D in level, like in the Sonic series.
I don't know if they could do that. Specifically how he described it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if they did, like, if they literally used the engine from freaking Mario Maker, it probably wouldn't be able to handle 3D.
I think, I don't know.
So they would have to do a new engine. But I could say, like, I could imagine them, because 3D World's already kind of that, where it's half 3D, half 2D. But it's like 2.75D.
That's what I was about to say, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I can see him doing that.
I mean, it feels like it's about as 3D as like most Sonic 3D games are, because there's some Sonic 3D games that feel more 3D, like Sonic Adventure or something like that feels more 3D, but like usually still it's kind of, straight lines and whatever.
I mean, it's 3D, but it's like linear.
Yeah.
So like you're moving forward on the y-axis,
right?
But you're not going in all directions,
right? Exactly,
like most other 3D games are. It's like you're only going forward. You can't go backwards or you break the game.
Grimhane, who also left a very good comment on my video this week, said, I agree that we're very likely to get a game featuring Mario in 2020. It's arguably Nintendo's biggest IP, especially if you don't count franchises that are co-owned, such as Pokemon. In fact, I'd be surprised if anyone could name a Nintendo franchise that's a Nintendo-owned franchise that's bigger. Pikmin. Duh,
Smash Brothers, you dumb? No. I mean, it's becoming that.
Obviously, it's F-Zero.
But also it doesn't count.
Just saying.
Falcon would be so proud.
I'd like to see Mario Sunshine and Galaxy get ports to the Switch since I never played them and they seem like fun games. They are fun games. No, I don't care that the system they ran on aren't that old and was popular. It's been nearly a decade now since the Wii was really fully relevant. That's enough time for a not insignificant amount of people to exist who would experience these for the first time. I also agree.
I know several people, mostly because I have a niece that is in this group of people that didn't exist when the Wii came out.
Yep, I know a number of people
were pretty far from existing, in fact. So, yeah, that's true. Like a Wii, if I showed a Wii to my niece, she wouldn't know what it is. She wouldn't be like, "Oh, that's a Wii." She'd be like, "Oh, that's an old thing." Because it is. It's older than she is, so it's old.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot of that stuff. I mean, I've talked about how I haven't played Wind Waker, and I have it for the GameCube, but like I'm playing other things on the Switch right now. So like if it came to the Switch, I would play it. But right now, I'm just waiting for that before I play it. Yeah. So like I think there's a lot of games like that, just GameCube games, Wii games especially.
I have a different reason for that. Mostly I just like only want to play games on whatever platform, because like a big reason why I play a lot of games that I do play is zeitgeist. Like,
yeah, I mean that's the thing is
conversation.
Yeah.
I don't really care about it being like, because if there are games on like the Super Nintendo that's like, oh, I never fully beat this game, but like there's no reason to actually play. Like freaking this is going to hurt Max's heart. But, like there's no real reason for me to play Super Metroid. I'm not going to make a video about Super Metroid.
I mean, that's exactly the thing is if I had no other Switch games to play right now, first of all, there would be other Switch games that I could play right now. And then, that would be a thing. But that's ultimately, I don't want to, if the Wind Waker is going to come to the Switch sometime down the road, then like it would be relevant for me to play it then. Whereas right now it would be making it harder to have things to talk about that are relevant and going on and like content wise and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. It's kind of just, I mean, I could just suck it up and do it anyway, but it would, be harder to do.
Yeah, nah.
What we do.
Why would I do that?
Yep. So continuing on, he says, I also agree that Odyssey has been out too long for DLC to really make sense. And it really feels like if they're going to return to this world, it's going to be in a sequel. On the note of sequels, it could be argued that most of the mainline Mario games are sequels, with the exception of Super Mario 2. Each game builds on the last and uses at least large elements of the previous games. And even with that exception, Super Mario 2 is in a weird situation since really it should have been the Lost Levels. Mm-hmm. As far as the sports games, who really knows? Golf is definitely enjoying an upswing thanks to Golf Story, though Nintendo marches to the beat their own drum, and the devs behind Golf Story are expanding beyond golf. I think it's really up in the air as to what, if any, Mario sports game we get, excluding tennis, because they're not even Nintendo. Is that crazy? What?
Because not even Nintendo was that crazy.
Oh, because not... Okay, yeah. I added a word. Between 2D and 3D Mario, I prefer 3D, but I hope that if they do a 3D Mario, they include power-ups. Cappy is fun, but I want to shoot fireballs and ice balls, etc. in a 3D Mario. Exactly.
I think that Mario game... yeah, there's sequels in that sense, but I just mean that, most Mario games literally get sequels that are marketing wise. They're like, this is a continuation of this game, even if it's really not. Freaking what happens in Mario 2 or Lost Levels doesn't influence what happened in Mario 3 on a narrative level, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, I just mean that they usually get sequels.
Would you classify Sunshine as a sequel of 64?
Nah, that's why I said they're the exceptions.
Well, so when you say most, yeah, I guess that, okay. Because, I mean, Galaxy 1, Galaxy 2, and then we got, Super Mario Land 1 and 2.
There's Mario 1 through 3.
Yeah.
There's 64 to Sunshine.
Yeah.
There's Galaxy 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And then there's freaking 3D Land, 3D World, and that.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the games have they're
the new Super Mario Bros. Series has a billion sequels.
Yeah, they're
to stop.
They're kind of sub series within themselves that get follow ups. Yeah. Whereas Sunshine never got a follow up.
Yeah.
And 64 never got a follow up, unless for whatever reason you do count Sunshine, which would be,
it's a reasonable thing to, they have similar overall
mechanically kind of, I guess. And I would say only that because the camera is sort of similar. And that's because they were dumb. They didn't know what they were doing yet. They're like,
that's by far the most painful part about Sunshine is that camera. It's just, it's bad.
But it's better than 64. That's the thing that's hypocritical. Everybody's like, 64 is so great, but Sunshine no, Sunshine is a better game than 64.
I would say the cameras between the two, for me, why is my dog going crazy again? The cameras for me.
Because he agrees.
Because he agrees with me because he's my dog. And
that's why he's mad. He's rebelling.
The camera in 64... is at least it's awful, but because there's less, I don't know.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
I'm right, and you just have to accept it. So I think because the Super Mario Sunshine camera tries more, it ends up failing more in some ways. Whereas the Super Mario 64 one is just it's easier to work around.
You're dumb, and everything you say is wrong.
No, I'm super smart. But as far as smart things go, we do Q&A, which is smart because you guys have lots of fun things to say, and we'll have things to say about them. So let's do that. Any more thoughts on your video before we move along?
No. Oh yeah, I thought of that video at the last possible second because I didn't know what I wanted to talk about, but then I figured it out, and I feel like that happens so much when it's the video, it's always one of the more successful videos.
Yeah.
That happens where I'm like, I don't know what the heck I'm like the 2018 Switch video. I literally knew nothing that I was going to talk about. I was like, I have no idea what I want to talk about. And I was like, how about this? And then it freaking gets darn near 1 million views. Freaking moral of the story, just fly by the seat of your pants, everybody. Don't plan nothing.
Yep. Especially because sometimes when you plan something for a while and you're like, this is going to be cool. and then it doesn't get any views, it's like, oh man, that really sucks.
Yeah, it's like the videos that take me the most time get the least amount of views. Always. Yeah. Literally never has this been. Have I had a video where it's like, man, this video took me so much more time than every other video that got way more views than it. And I specifically am talking about like the history videos where it's like the freaking 25-minute video.
Yeah,
like, this video took me so long to do, and it gets like 2,000 views. I'm like, well, that wasn't worth any of that.
Yep. Yeah, which makes me worried because I've got like a decent backlog of ideas of things that I want to do that'll be fun, but like the longer those are in there, the more I'm like, I kind of don't want to do this because I know that's going to happen. But you know what? I'll be very thankful for them for a week when I have nothing else to do. I think as long
as the video itself doesn't take that long, like you can have the idea for a long time. Like I had the idea to do an Animal Crossing video since I did the last freaking Animal Crossing video. So the idea itself is like not the thing that jinxes it. It's the amount of time that it takes you to make the video. Actually, once you put the first letter in the Word document from when you export the video, that's the time that it's like, hey, is it really worth it?
Yep. Yeah. All right. Comments, questions, all that kind of stuff. One comment that I pulled from last week's podcast, I feel like maybe that's the best way to do it, is just pull one comment from the weeks before, because I don't know. We'll just see. We'll play it by ear. But Marky Mark answered, I asked him or whatever, like just curious what the Switch situation looked like in China, because that's where he lives. And he answered, and it was neat. So he said, thanks for answering my question. I'd love a Gen 2 remake of Let's Go. My favorite game is probably Heart Gold, and I would just love to see the region remade in that style. As for the Switch in China, a lot of my students who are gamers and middle class imported the Switch prior to the official release anyway. I saw a bunch of fanfare around the release of Switch Lite and Pokemon. One of my current students picked up the Zacian/Zamazenta Lite, and I was a little jealous because it looks great. But I live in a city that isn't really touched by foreign influence, so I've not seen the Switch at any of the big electronics stores. I did see some adverts on WeChat, kind of like WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook rolled into one, though. I imagine Nintendo got more exposure in cities like Shanghai, Guangzhou, or Shenzhen. Also, something to note, this isn't the holiday season in China. That starts in about 3 to 4 weeks. The Lunar New Year could be the time where the Switch sales in China move the needle enough for international reports to talk about it. Cheers.
Ooh,
very interesting. Yeah, keep us, if you want to. You don't have to do anything, but feel free to keep us posted when that happens and after. I mean, maybe we'll see stuff about it, but I'm just curious to see what it actually looks like, on the grounds there, because there not being any in the stores makes a lot of sense. I've been to China twice, Hong Kong once, and then like mainland China once. And I was in a city when I went to mainland China that was like, I would consider a big city, but for China was like, it's a kind of a city, I guess. It's not that big, which is just funny because that's just how big and populated China is.
A freaking billion people there.
It's huge. Yeah. So, but downtown wise or whatever, it looked as big as I live 30 minutes outside of Nashville, and it was it seemed as big as Nashville. There's probably 500,000 to maybe 1 million people in the city, but it was one of their smaller cities, something like that. Or not one of their, you know what I'm trying to say. So in any case, that's interesting to think about. But I'm curious when the Switch would be more widespread and kind of just everywhere or whatever. But I mean, as Mark said before, it sounds like it's kind of out of most people's reasonable budgets anyway. So who's to say what it's actually like?
On the topic of the Pokemon thing, I don't think I've ever really thought about because Pokemon Heart Gold is my favorite Pokemon game, but it really has nothing to do with what the region is specifically. It's just the amount of content because of the regions that are in the game. I don't have any particular affinity for Gen 1 or Gen 2, especially in the way that you, for instance, would have. I'm just I like Pokemon, man, and that game lets me play a lot of it. So that's why I like it. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. What region I would what one would I be really excited for them Let's Go-ifying just to experience the region in a different way.
Yeah. That's interesting. I don't know. Moving along now. Let me check the community tab, make sure nobody's posted any more questions that I missed. Nope, we good. So YouTube community, we ask for some questions there, and you provided some. Crazy Derp asks, what's your favorite shiny Pokemon, and what's the ugliest? And do you think shiny Pokemon are really that cool? I feel like we answered kind of this question recently.
Did we?
But I don't remember.
I don't remember literally ever talking about what my favorite shiny Pokemon.
Oh, I thought we did, but maybe not.
I think we might have talked.
Maybe it was
about,
in the Discord.
What shinies we've had or something.
Oh, maybe. I'm gonna say because I think Grimhane pointed out, but he pointed out Charizard is a real cool one.
Charizard is pretty.
Yes, dope. I'm gonna go Charizard.
I like Charizard. This is cool.
Yep,
but
especially one of his Mega Evolutions. I think it's X. I don't remember which one.
Does it look like?
I don't remember. I just remember one of them being cooler than the other one. I'm looking it up, and we're gonna see which one I think was the cooler one. That doesn't have the right things on it. We're gonna say it was X.
Okay.
Sure.
Mine is freaking Applin right now because I like that it's a green apple.
Yeah.
I need it. I need to like start looking for that again, but not now because I don't feel like it.
It's Y, by the way. It wasn't X. It was Y. It looks.
See,
so nice.
This just confirms that you're wrong about everything.
Because X is the one with like the 5. Yeah.
I know which one it is. You don't got to tell me.
No, that was a question. That was a question. I like the other one.
X is the Dragon Boy. He has like the freaking fire coming out of his face. Yep. And I like the Y is the one with the extra horns on his head.
Yeah, and he's like longer and
he's like the more Charizard. And then like X is like if Charizard was different.
Yeah,
that's like the best way that I could.
That's a good way of putting it. They're both real cool though. I like them both. That was one of the only shinies that I got in Let's Go, and I liked it a lot. And it was I just happened to stumble upon it too. I was trying to get a shiny Scyther, and I got a shiny Charizard, and I was like, yes, this life is good now. The ugliest shiny, I think for me, it's just the ones that are the most boring. Like I don't know that there's any that I'm like
garbage.
Yeah, I don't think there's any that they like changed a lot, and I'm like, oh, they changed it so much that it's ugly. At least that I'm aware of.
The most disappointing shinies are the ones that you can only tell that they're shiny because they do the whole like animation thing.
Yeah,
those are trash. Those are like garbage ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, on the other hand, there are some shinies that are like drastically different. That it's like they're worse because of it.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of the question. Looks like if this is Lucario's actual shiny color, that's pretty gross. He's kind of yellowish. And
I mean, you had the ability to.
I'm on the other computer, so the stream doesn't crash. You dummy. But anyways, who's to say? Yeah, I don't know. Who do you think is the ugliest, Crazy Dirt? Because you may have an opinion on this, and I'd like to know. Next question from Colorful Commentary: Is it okay for Kamiya to be so blunt with Nintendo? Like, I know he's an infamous troll and it's funny, but like, are there business consequences? I can picture Bayonetta 3 being delayed a year every time he does this.
No, I think that if he was like a Nintendo employee, maybe, but he works at his own situation, which he's not like the freaking CEO of Platinum either. But like, if there were going to be any repercussions, it would be with Platinum.
Yeah.
Nintendo doesn't really have any bearing on his employment.
Yeah.
So he's fine.
It's just,
and that's why he talks like that, because he knows he's fine.
Yeah, right. Exactly. No, I think he'd be more aware of those kinds of things. Maybe Bayonetta 3 gets moved up every time he does it. We don't know. Maybe it's even closer. Maybe it's tomorrow.
Maybe he knows that Bayonetta is happening in mere weeks.
So and he's like, it's going to get lost in everyone's all software.
He wants everybody to be angry and have his name at the front of their head so that they're like, oh, yeah, that freaking Kamiya guy. Bayonetta, that exists. That game's out. I'll buy it.
That's right. He's smart. Sam Diaz, I don't know. Who's to say? Sam Diaz says, what resolutions do you guys have, if any?
I want 100K. I want it. I'm speaking it into existence. 100,000 subscribers. We're gonna do it this year, man.
Yeah.
Continued growth.
I wonder, yeah, if we just like take trajectory as it is now, I wonder how, I mean, because hopefully, you know, things continue to compound on each other if everything goes right. But if it didn't and it stayed exactly at the same pace, I don't know where that would get us to.
I don't know,
we can do
like
the
50, like 50K or something like that.
50
last 3
billion.
months, we got like 5,000 something.
Yeah,
5,600 new subs or something.
Welcome if you're a new sub. Hello. Hi there. Resolution. Yeah, I'd like to do a couple at least. I'd like to do more streaming, or any streaming at all is more than I've done so far. So that yeah, I don't know. And
yeah, I have no streaming related resolutions. I mean, I would like to say I want to like maintain, because like I want to maintain the Wednesday streams, but like, and I talked about this on streams, but I don't like, I like streaming because I like engaging with the community.
Yeah.
But I don't like everything else about streaming. Literally nothing else.
Yeah.
Because it's like just the way I play a lot of like, especially newer games. I just like to mess around. Like I was playing freaking Shovel Knight. The DLC, and a lot of like when I play those games, it's like, what can I do or what can't I do? So like I'll die a lot because I'm like, how does this work? And it makes me look like I'm like worse at the game than I actually am,
right?
Because I'm just seeing what the boundaries are at this point when I first turned the game on. And like Max was talking about that, he was like, you're not like, I was playing this and like I was thinking it was way harder than it was because Aiden was playing it and he was dying a lot. And it's like, yeah, because you're playing the game and you're trying to get through. I'm playing the game and I'm just trying to see how it works.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. I mean, I've heard a lot of streamers say like, man, I'd be so much better at games if I just wasn't streaming them. Like, which is very valid.
See, that's the thing. I'm not entirely
which isn't what you're
that.
saying, but that's
No, I'm not saying that. I just think that how I play certain games, like Shovel Knight, is different from like what people are coming to the stream to see. Where it's like, I want to see you like speed run this, or really, really good the first time you touch it. It's like, nah, it's not really how I want to figure it out. Like,
if anybody were watching me stream, I think they would have to be very aware that they're coming to hang out with me while I play a game, rather than it being like you were saying. Because like the way I play Dark Souls, which again, it's been a long, long time, but the way I play Dark Souls whenever that happens is like super slow and tedious, because it's like I just don't want to die, so I'm just sneaking up to all these things and like cheesing things or whatever. But like it's probably not that fun to watch. But if people are just there to hang out and I'm playing Dark Souls as well and they get to watch that some, that's different. That's what it is, you know, like that's not as big of a deal.
But yeah, like on that note, that's why it's like the games that are better to stream are ones that I already have that understanding of, because I don't go through that process of like, what can I do? Because I already did it. Like, I understand what I can and can't.
Yeah.
So it's like that's part of why I don't like streaming. I don't like the like need to like have this like set schedule thing of like, this is the time it's going to happen, this is when the thing is going to be over, because things happen and those times change all the time. Like streaming on Wednesday at freaking 8 o'clock is not always convenient for me, but it's just the most likely time that anything else is going to change, you know? So, or is that anything else is not going to change. So that's so that's it. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to do some amount of streaming this year as far as New Year's resolutions go, partly because now I have the resources for it. Time less so, but, you know, actual products or whatever, Elgato and whatnot, and this little handy-dandy camera. Hey, camera, what's up? But otherwise, I mean, other like project-related things, I would like to get some more music stuff done. And then I was just talking about, you saw on YouTube or on Twitter that I mentioned, there's like a YouTube project kind of thing that I've wanted to do for a while that's music related, that wouldn't be in any kind of consistency, but it would just be fun to do. And so I might see if I can get some of that done. But yeah, it's like music related stuff. So probably not anything that the majority of our fans would care at all about, but would just be a fun thing for me. Just like
for creative
the
reasons.
Parker fans, you know?
Yeah.
Like not the like, and it's
So
like,
just AJ.
it's like less, yes, like less specific than like the fans of like your opinions, but just like the ones that want to know what's up, dude. Like those ones, you know.
What's up? You know who you are. Hello. Hi. Thanks for being here today. Yeah, that's any other resolutions for you for this year?
That's just it. I literally just want 100K. So like help that, you know.
Yep.
Everybody. Only you can prevent forest fires. Which speaking of help Australia, dude.
Yeah.
It's not a forest fire technically, but like it's a fire. So like,
I mean, yeah, it's
burning. It's burning.
Within the realm. 7 says, which 2D Pokemon had the best sprites and why is it Gen 4?
All right. I gotta go on the internet.
Question: When we're saying sprites, we don't mean in-game models? We mean just the sprites,
I think that
right?
is what she's talking about.
Oh, okay.
I think she's talking about like the Pokemon sprites specifically. Okay. Pokemon sprites. I'm trying to see if there's like a site that has them like in chronological order. Generations.
Nope, that one's. I'm going to say
no. It's not what I
Yeah, I don't see anything right off the bat that's like just got exactly what it is we're looking for.
The evolution of Pokemon sprites. Here we go.
Oh.
Here we go. Wait.
You're pulling it up.
This is like an article. Dumb. I mean, nah, this is dumb. This is dumb. They have like a thing. It's like, can I like full screen this image? Let me open this image though. Open image in new tab.
I mean, I've got something where it's got just the original 3 starters evolution lines.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Oh, okay. Looking at this.
I'm going to pull it up, but I'm trying to like make it look like better.
I accept.
Okay. Close this. Go to here.
In the meantime, I'll ask this other question while you're pulling it up that we'll answer in a little bit. From Twitter, Max Wright says, yo, long-time listener. First time sending in a question this decade, though. Thank you for finally stepping up to the plate, Maximilian Wrightimus. What is your dream third-party / indie amiibo? Do you think Nintendo will release any more non-Smash amiibo this year? Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time. Thank you, Max.
Zoom won't let me do it. It's being dumb. It's a permissions thing because I updated my computer. So
well, just looking at this picture then, let me just say, I'm just going to say Gen 4 because that's what you said, and I trust you. Not you, AJ.
How dare you?
I mean, I do trust you, but it's not what you said.
You already said it.
I know.
You don't trust me.
But no, it's Gen 1 because they look like garbage.
Gen 5, they like went too far with the like how the sprites work. And they look kind of dumb. So yeah, I'd agree with Gen 4.
Yeah.
And some people say like some people are like, oh, Pokemon better as sprites than models and all that. I think those people are dumb. I think some Pokemon look better as sprites, and that's just because the sprite is more flattering, more so than the Pokemon itself being better because of the, you know, like I think the sprite and I mean the Pokemon inherently looks dumb. But the sprite hides a lot of that. Whereas like the model is more honest. So some Pokemon look dumber with the 3D model, and it's just because they look stupid already. But the sprite is a lie.
Yeah.
So I think 3D models are better overall.
Yeah. So Gen 4.
Just a hipster, but I think as far as sprites go, yeah, Gen 4 definitely.
I like it. But yeah, Max Wright's question: what do you think? What's your dream third-party / indie amiibo, and do you think Nintendo will release any more non-Smash ones this year? I think no for the second part. We haven't gotten really any new amiibo.
See, this is the thing about amiibo.
For a while.
They only work when they're centered around a series that you can eventize in some way. Like it's not really a thing of like collectibles on this like piecemeal sort of thing. It's not like a freaking pre-order bonus or whatever, right?
Right.
It's this thing that's like, I'm a Smash Brothers player and I want all the characters. So that is why those work, you know? I think the only other amiibo that could work in that way are Pokemon. And they would make so much money. I don't know why. I mean, it's probably because Pokemon Company that they don't do it, but they should. So no, I don't think there's going to be a third party like series of amiibo or anything like that.
Well, the question was, do you think Nintendo will release any more non-Smash amiibo? But then separately, would you? What's your dream indie / third party one?
See, this is the thing about this question. There's a lot of third party games that I'd play, but there's not a lot of third party games that I care about to the extent that it's like, I want collectibles of this thing. You know, it's like, all right.
I'd say Hollow Knight. I'd be down with Hollow Knight because, like,
now indies are third parties to you.
No, he said third party / indie. You dummy. You're such a dummy. But so yeah, I'd say
coats.
I'd say indie Hollow Knight because I think there's a lot of indie games where it'd be cool, like Celeste would be neat or whatever. But the in-game model,
because then she'll be all sad.
True, but I mean, also just for like practical reasons, of the in-game model is 16-bit type model or whatever. Besides her like picture sprite things where she talks, but really you know her as maybe not even 16-bit, whatever. You know her as a pixelated character, and a 3D model of that wouldn't be like
it'd be like the freaking ugly Pokemon.
Yeah, it would be like not the best. Versus if it were just a 3D model that weren't pixelated, then it wouldn't feel right.
Baby Yoda.
So I think Hollow Knight, because it would translate really well organically into a little 3D model. That would look great.
Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda. And then last questions from Discord. Duncan asked a question that was already asked. How did you not know this, man?
Wow.
Just kidding. You might have even asked it first. Who's to say?
No, he didn't ask it first, man. What a rookie, dude.
What are your guys' 2020 resolutions?
Already said it. 100K. Share with your friends. If 3 people share with their friends and convert one person, like if you convert 3 of your friends each, man, we'll get there.
I'm going to add this one that I just came up with now. And I'm not holding myself to it, but I'm just going to say, finishing the backlog that I currently have of games that I want to finish. There's some games, like I'm not going to finish Skyrim. I'm not going to finish, like I might play more Skyrim, but maybe not. But I'm not going to finish that. I'm not going to finish Assassin's Creed. But the ones that it's like, I'd like to go back and finish those, like Okami or whatever, I'm going to finish those. That's a resolution.
My backlog doesn't exist. I'm done.
Yep. We are different, you and I.
Yep.
Patar35. Patar asks, I got a special the January direct leak from my secret source. Here it is. Breath of the Wild will be coming out.
I hate that, like, just to fit the January direct into it, he made it grammatically incorrect. Like, he freaking went out of his way to be like, I know AJ hates this, so I'm going to say it.
I appreciate it.
Of course.
So here's, sorry to spoil it for everybody, but here's what we got. Breath of the Wild 2 will be coming out in 2020. Metro Prime Trilogy is out now. Metro Prime 4 is holiday 2020 and has a Battle Royale mode. Splatoon 3 is also announced and also has a Battle Royale mode. Switch Pro rumors are true. However, there will be an even more powerful Switch Pro Pro to compete with the PS5.
Switch Pro.
Also, the Smash character Trump will be announced.
Oh my!
What do y'all think of this?
Oh my God! I hate it. Everything. Also, this is a freaking.
You hate everything? No, Breath of the Wild coming out in 2020, please.
This is no, because it wouldn't be done. I think that this is a freaking fake Nintendo Direct leak from 2018, especially the Battle Royale stuff. That's a 2018 Direct leak.
I don't know. Battle Royale
kind of dead.
It is kind of dead, if we're being honest. I mean, I think some of the games like Fortnite and maybe Apex.
They're still like thriving,
but like new ones.
Yeah, like they're not doing well enough where people can ride their coattails anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
which is the problem.
Agreed. Yep. So hopefully for Call of Duty's sake, they didn't try to add any battle royale modes into the next one. But nevertheless, we'll keep moving along. Thank you, Pitar, for all of that. Sariti says, can AJ train a Pokemon trainer amiibo that we can challenge with our own?
So this is the thing.
Can you do those online?
What?
Can you challenge other people's amiibos online? Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yes. So this is the thing that Bob wants to do. Bob wants to be amiibo pen pals. He wants us to like both buy amiibos of our mains and then send them back and forth. And I was like, yeah, let's freaking.
That's fun.
So I can't talk about that yet, but me and Bob are doing a thing next couple weeks.
Okay.
Which
I'll be ready.
I'm gonna be going to New York to do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's when we're going to make the swap.
I suppose.
And do the amiibo pen pal
the Nintendo swap
program. And I'll keep you updated on how garbage his amiibo is.
Next question. Lord Commander Grimhane said 2D or 3D for video games. Only one can survive. For some clarification, if a game in the Diablo 3 style would still be 2D, for some clarification, a game in the Diablo 3 style would still be 2D since you only control effectively 2 dimensions of movement. So isometric 3D, I guess, is 2D.
I don't know.
I've got an answer.
I don't know. Because I like playing both almost equally, I guess. Because Smash Bros. Is a 2D game. But also Pokemon's a 3D game.
Yep.
So it's like I wouldn't want Pokemon to go back to 2D.
Yeah.
Which I mean Pokemon was
yeah. In his rules, Pokemon was 2D before.
Yeah, it's 2D. So like I wouldn't want it to go back to that.
Although arguably for him,
want Smash Bros to go 3D.
Arguably Pokemon, besides the wild area, is the only 3D part in his definition.
Yes. But that's the thing. I don't want I want the Pokemon to eventually be all wild area.
Easy answer for me, 3D. Just straight up. I think that a lot of things have been perfected in 2D that are really good. I think 3D has lots more room to grow. There's a lot of franchises that it's like they haven't been good in 3D yet, like Donkey Kong or Kirby or something like that. But I think they could, and it's just a question of figuring those out. So I agree. I think 2D would get stale faster.
I think literally the only thing that makes this hard for me is Smash. Because I think Smash Bros. Would be much worse in 3D. I think it would be a lot less. It would either have to be entirely different or it would end up being less skill based.
Yeah. I mean, there might be a way, like kind of more Pokken sort of style where it's like.
Yeah, that's what I figure. And I think Pokken, like while Pokken's fighting style is interesting, it's not as interesting and deep as Smash Brothers is.
I think some of that too, to me, feels like Pokken.
Like a lot of the movement is less interesting, and like a lot of what makes Smash Brothers fun is movement.
Yeah,
and movement. It's the fact that it's restricted in some sense, but still fluid, lets you do a lot of cool stuff. Whereas if you're like moving in 3 directions, either you're moving in 3 directions and you're like intentionally like staggering your movement to be like, you thought I was going to move there, but I'm not, like that. Yeah. There'll only be the only real mix-ups that you could do in 3 dimensions, or like I jumped backwards, like that type of thing. Whereas in Smash Bros, there's just like a lot of wild stuff that you can do with the amount of screen real estate that you have. Yeah, it's like you thought I was going to come up on the stage, but I wall jumped and then I up B in the other direction, and then I did my forward air, and here I am. Like that type of crap.
You got more anime sounding as you went on, and here
that's how it is. That's what it is, man. It's like freaking anime moments, dude. It's like, oh shoot, he did that. Like what?
He did do that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think your answer. I think you would just have to give up on Smash Bros. And it's 3D all the way.
No, I refuse. I will 3D every other game to the ground.
Lizdrin asks, what Switch games are you looking forward to in 2020? I feel like all I know about that's first party is Animal Crossing, so I'm not that hyped for this year.
How dare you? I mean, Animal Crossing, dude. I'm already hyped for that because it's going to be fun. It's going to be like so stupid like that. I'm so free. Like Animal Crossing is one of those games that is like more fun depending on the people that you play it with, and that is going to be so dumb. So dumb playing that with freaking Bob and Dad. Like that's going to be a time, man.
Yep.
And MDB is going to be trying to be all orderly and crap, and we're going to be like, nah, man, F that. It's going to be great.
I'm going to break all your stools or whatever.
I'm going to freaking put your whole house in a ditch when you're asleep.
And craft it into something else. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for there's Silk Song if that comes out this year, which it better come out this year. Gods and Monsters, I'm excited about that. I think
true. Game cool.
There's some other No More Heroes 3. I think I'm excited for. I don't know the entirety of what it is.
I'm less excited because it's not the game that it should have been.
I know, but yeah, those are probably the like main ones that I'm excited for. But I'm actually just excited also for the fact that we don't really know what's coming out yet, and I'm excited for the surprises.
Yep.
So, yeah. Yep. Breath of the Wild 2. Chikapo asks, if you could have any video game character as your best friend, who would it be? Isabel?
Nah, she's toxic.
Oh, I didn't know. I don't know. That just seems like I don't know. She'd be like helpful and supportive and like
she's toxic
friend.
She's toxic.
Because of Smash or because of Animal Crossing? Oh,
also Animal Crossing. She's just toxic.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, man.
Who would you say that?
Leave her in 2019, dude.
Okay.
Toxic. Take her out of Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Obviously Tom Nook for AJ, so
he's also toxic, and he's like very clearly toxic.
This is true. I mean, Link would be cool, but I don't think in reality,
he's toxic
like
too. Yo, all video game characters are toxic. They're not healthy relationships. They're not healthy relationships.
No,
that's like freaking Link doesn't even talk. That's toxic.
Or like, he's really good at
communicate with you. No, the communication is key. In any relationship.
Maybe you just have to learn to understand the grunts that he makes climbing up the like.
No,
sure.
He's toxic, man. I can't.
All right, then you give an answer.
I told you every video game character is toxic.
None
of them.
Well, Chikapo's really mad at you now, and he and I are the only friends that there ever were. So. We're just going to go listen to music and hang out and play free pianos. He knows what I mean. Mega Man says, Happy New Year to you both. Sour lollies or normal lollies? Hashtag Fanatics Foods.
Okay, what does this mean?
It's lollipops.
No, I understand.
Oh, okay.
I understand that. But what do we mean? Are we talking about like the freaking like coated lollipops, like those, like with the sour sugar, like that sort of situation?
I'm thinking probably more like just... Like, I think, are there like warheads? I've had sour lollipops
when
before.
When I think about sour, I don't think extremes unless that's specified. So like when I think about like freaking drinks that I like, right? Like I like drinks that are more, and I'm talking about like soda and stuff like that. Like I like drinks that are closer to being sour than they are sweet. Like I don't like root beer because it's too sweet.
I love root beer.
I don't like it. Too sweet. But on the other hand, I like freaking orange soda and like Sprite and like that sort of thing.
I'm down.
Like, is that what we're saying? Are we saying like a sour lollipop?
I'm guessing it actually means lollipop? Like something where it's like, you know, like if you get sour gummy worms, it's like, these are sour, which so often like they're not sour and I'm mad about
it.
Yeah. But then, also like warheads or whatever, where it's like, those are, you know, sour. But
see, that's the thing. I I'm pretty good with most extremes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's like an extreme that's like this is biologically an issue. Like if you eat this and your body is going to try to expel it one way or another, right? Like I freaking ate that 9 million Scoville hot sauce or whatever.
Yep.
And my brother was like, "Yo, he's freaking like he's tearing up." I'm like, "Yeah, it's because I'm human. Like I'm not sitting here like, oh, this hurts." But my eyes are watering because my body's like, "What did you put in me?" But like for other things, that's like ghost peppers or whatever. Or most people like you can eat it and it's edible and like you won't die or become sick or whatever. But some people just are like, "Oh, this is hot," like they're freaking out. I'm fine with those, but I don't like seek it out. I'm not like, man, I love freaking warheads, but I can handle warheads. But I do prefer, like I said, I prefer more sour, like more on the sour side than sweet. So
for lollipops, I don't really eat that many lollipops, I guess is true. That's a thing.
True. That's also very true. I think the last time when I used to eat lollipops regularly, it was only the lollipops at the bank. When my mom or my dad would go to the bank and they're like, "Hey, you want a lollipop?"
Oh, like the dum-dums or whatever?
They weren't dum-dums. They're like freaking like the ones.
The like flat circle ones?
Yeah, they're like flat and then they're like, they have like the stick and the stick is like curved.
Yep.
Like those are bank lollipops.
Those are bank lollipops. You're very right.
Like they only sell them to banks. It's illegal to get them.
Man, there's a kind of lollipop that they had when I got my haircut when I was a kid in France, and they were super good. It was like I could probably find them, and if you're someone who's in Europe, you probably know what I'm talking about. But they're like also flat, but they have like the little picture of the fruit that's on it, like just a little bit.
Oh,
it's got, like the outside part is a color, and then it's kind of like whitish on the inside, and then that. Maybe they have them here as well, but I just haven't seen them here. But like,
no, I freaking just thought of lollipop. You only eat lollipops when you're a child.
Yeah, I don't think that I've
eaten a lot of different kinds of lollipops when I was a kid. I remember my mom we used to go to the dollar store and get these like big behind bags of blow pops, like $2, and I would go to school and sell them.
I did love blow pops.
I would buy a big bag of blow pops and have like 50 blow pops, and then I sell all of them for like $2 each. That's cool. And it works.
Entrepreneur.
Kids, exactly, because kids are like, "Yo, I want a lollipop and I can't get a lollipop, so like I'll pay $2 for the convenience of getting a lollipop now."
Yep.
So
economy, you know what I'm saying?
Profit. And I didn't even buy lollipops, so like it's all profit for me.
All profit, 100% profit.
And then also they had the freaking Jolly Rancher lollipops, the square ones. You ever have square Jolly Rancher lollipops?
I don't know. I don't think so.
They're like literally just Jolly Ranchers, but they're squares and they're on a stick.
I don't know. Ashley likes Jolly Ranchers. I'm not a big Jolly Rancher guy.
You're dumb. You know what?
Sure.
Nah, you know what?
They're just really sticky.
Yeah, I agree. You know?
I remember I was going to say
Jolly Rancher gummies. I like those.
Yes.
I like those
Quality.
because I like the taste of Jolly Ranchers. But like after a while, I'm done. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want this anymore.
Here's my problem. I'm not good at the whole like Tootsie Pop classic ad. The how many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop?
You just bite it.
I just bite them way too soon. I'm like, I can't not. Like, I don't think I've ever finished a lollipop just by licking it or sucking on it or whatever. Like, I always just bite it. So like, it's not a good situation for me.
I think the only time that like just like being a kid, it's like, all right, man, I got stuff to do. I'm a kid. I'm busy, man. I can't sit here eating this lollipop. I gotta freaking go kick somebody on the playground or something.
Yeah, it sounds just like me as a kid.
so you just bite the lollipop and you're like, I'm done with this thing.
Mine was, I better bite this lollipop because somebody's about to kick me on the playground for this lollipop. So yeah, life. We like life.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that's what you gotta do, man.
That's what you gotta do.
So answer the question, somewhere in between, I guess.
An answer from me: no lollipops is greater than sour lollipops, which is greater than not sour lollipops.
Sure,
something like that. But last question from Multi asks, if you were drafted and were allowed to play one game during break, what would it be? Remember, you have poor Wi-Fi connection, so you probably won't want a game that relies on the internet. essentially this is the stranded on a desert island question, but a little more topical.
All right. So if they freaking draft me to the Chicago Bulls, no, I think I know what he means.
Okay.
That would be super random. I don't know why I said Chicago Bulls.
Hey, you know what? Because Michael Jordan. That's what's up.
Yeah, but he's old and he's like crotchety and like.
That's true, but Space Jam
kind of self-hates, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of hates black people, honestly, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I don't pay enough attention to have known that, but that's super lame.
Like, it's kind of trash, you know. But like most people, once they make $1 billion, they're like, all right, I think I have to be trash now.
Yeah, unfortunately,
exceptions, but like I feel like most of them are like, you know what? I have $1 billion. It's part of the contract to be garbage. So that's what I'll do.
Yep.
But anyway, do I have other people with me? Or am I by myself?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
If I have friends and I get to choose those friends, Smash Brothers, dude.
Yeah.
But if I don't have friends,
and
or I don't get to choose those friends, Pokemon. Or Animal Crossing New Horizons, so I can learn Stranded Island strats.
I was gonna say like maybe Stardew Valley or something like that, but Animal Crossing is more topical. So, I mean, as long as Animal Crossing New Horizons is a good Animal Crossing, we'll go with that one.
You don't even know.
I know. That's what I'm
saying. It
saying.
could be the worst Animal Crossing and still the best one to you. So
True.
why does it matter?
Well, I mean, if it sucks, though,
you dumb.
Beg to differ.
Debatable.
That'll be the topic of the next podcast. It's just like, is Parker dumb? And ironically, I'm not going to be there for it. So it's just you and Will or whoever talking. You and Bob.
That's how you but that's how you responded when I was like, you're dumb. You're like, debatable. You didn't just straight up say no, but you were like, I don't know.
I mean, you know, everything's relative.
True.
Yep. So there's that. On that note, I'll be not on the podcast next week because it'll be my 5-year anniversary and we're going away and whatever. But you'll be on with somebody yet to be determined.
Really, the only thing because I'm, you know, a stipulation I have in my head is I need to get, I can only get Bob on the podcast once per year. Because I don't want people to like be like, clout or whatever.
Yeah.
But Bob's my friend, so like I want to at least have him on the podcast once per year.
Yeah.
So I want to get Bob on there, but I also am like, but like, what if something happens? What if a Pokemon thing happens? Then I got to get in. You know. So it's like I'm keeping my options open until it's like I don't know, like Tuesday. And then if nothing happens, I'm going to be like, yo, Bob, get on the podcast. And if something happens, then I'm going to be like, yo, whoever is pertinent to the situation, get on the podcast.
Yep.
So be on the lookout for whoever the guest is. You'll never know until you know.
I wonder if people are more or less like newer people are going to less feel like the Bob clout chasing kind of thing. Because like at this point, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, obviously you're on Bob's stuff a lot, but you know, we're getting more people coming from just YouTube recommendations and stuff like that.
Exactly. So. Like if anything, when I'm on streams with Bob, if I even mention the fact that I have a channel, we get freaking 20 subs or whatever. And that's like fine. But any other day we get way more than that just by being the channel that we are. So it's like, I don't really care about that. I'm just there to hang out. And also that's why I want to get Bob on. But that's why like I try to make sure I only get Bob on when it makes absolute sense or a little bit so that it's obvious that I just want to have him on because I want him on, not because I'm trying to get anything from him. Yeah. But yeah. That's
clout chasing though. I mean, that's the thing. But speaking of clout, make us so famous by doing all the things. Just hand some out, you know, like mail us to PO Box 233-225-723. Yep. 48 15 16 23 42.
Sure.
Yep. That's the lost numbers for anybody. That's it. You know, we're done. We're done saying words. Never gonna do them again until ever.
No.
See you next time.
Goodbye.